Make sure we're working. Hello, everybody. Hello. Hope you're all doing well today. This is going to be interesting. This is going to be interesting. All right, so welcome, one and all. I have no idea what's going to happen tonight. I am totally blind on this. I haven't watched any Let's Plays. I haven't seen any footage. I don't know anything about this game other than the title, which is Wholesome Monster Girl Academia. Wholesome Monster Girl Academia. So let me tell you the background behind how I found this game and what I think. So first, found this game because it was sent to me by someone on Discord a couple months ago, and they said, "What do you think?" I saw the title, and basically what it's set up is that you play as this guy who shows up at a Catholic school where there are monster girls, and you will get to not only date one of these monster girls, it's a dating sim, but you will grow in your faith as well. And all I could say is, what the heck is that? Like, is this real? Or is this a joke? Like, is this just a setup to something very inappropriate? But everything that I read said that it was wholesome. So I'm like, okay, we're going to see. But I don't just want to look at this and see if it's wholesome. I want to see how they handle Christianity. I'm a Christian. I've studied the faith for a long time. And though I'm definitely not perfect, I'm no priest, I'm no pastor, I feel like I can look at this and say, all right, let's see how close we get. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to play this game. It's the demo. I've got the demo. We're going to try this game out. We're going to see just what it has to offer and see just how cringe or awesome it gets. So let's not waste any time. Oh, before I get started, I better get my headphones so that I can hear this better because I don't want it to blow up in y'all's ears. 1 second. Let me grab my earbuds. All right. 1 second. Grab my earbuds so that I can hear it. I've also got my Bible with me just in case I need to do some reference. But let's see if I can't connect my Bluetooth here. Okay. See if it'll find my earbuds. My headphones have been acting up, otherwise I would use those. Let's see if this works. Let's see if this works. All right, we should be rocking and rolling now. Okay. Done. Okay. Make sure y'all can hear it. Make sure y'all can hear me okay. Let's test it real quick. I'm going to play something real fast. Let's go to YouTube and just play something super fast. Doesn't have to be anything meaningful. Let's just play a clip, random clip. Let's play this. Okay, can y'all hear it or no? I might need to adjust this. Yeah, I'm getting some static on my end. Let me do this. Hold on. Okay, so that means that these aren't going to work. Okay, let me see if my headphones will behave. My headphones have been acting up lately. I think it's time to replace them. I was going to use my Bluetooth, but they're apparently not going to work. So let's plug this in. Okay. Okay. We're plugged in. Headphones active. Let's try again. Turn these up. Okay. Y'all getting anything? That is real soft. Let's turn that up. My goodness, that is soft. Well, let's hope that the game itself is better. Let's hope that the game is actually better. Okay, pause this. Let's open the game and see what we get. All right, here we go. So we're not getting any audio, are we? Shit, what is wrong with this tonight? Whoa. Do y'all hear the music? Do you hear this music? Let me check. Y'all should be able to hear that. I've got desktop audio responding. Do y'all hear this? Let me know if y'all hear it. All right, we got audio. Sweet. All right, so I'll go ahead and say the art looks very cute. Like, these designs look very nice. So it looks like we've got a dragon, a devil of some kind, a slime. That's a harpy, and from the fang, I'm going to guess that's a vampire. You're out in the daylight, honey. You need to get inside. Okay, so let's see. Encyclopedia gallery preferences about. Wow. Okay, well, let's not waste time. Let's get right into it. Whoa! Okay. Welcome to the demo of Wholesome Monster Girl Academia. Okay. All of the written content for the demo is finished, but there is always room for more scenes in the future and any missed grammar corrections. Welcome. Okay. That's weird. Oh, don't tell me. Please enjoy reading and let me know of any bugs, inconsistencies, or any constructive criticism you have, okay? If you want to follow for updates, check us out on Twitter, Wholesome MGA, or follow developer True Yomic, okay? We also have a Discord channel here, WMGA Discord server, okay? And wishlist the game on Steam if this seems like your kind of game. This link won't close the game, but will open up your Steam client if it is installed, okay? So let's begin. Yay! August 1st, Friday. Let's go. The final bell of my first week as a high school junior blares through the hallways. My ears are soon filled with hundreds of simultaneous conversations from students all over the school. I shove my books into my book bag and rush out of the classroom relieved to be free for the weekend. I'll probably spend my time gaming or seeing what my friends are up to. Not that we're super close or do anything meaningful, but it's still nice to hang around with others with similar interests. Generic boy, oh my goodness, that's breaking new mold right there. For better or worse, it seems that nothing in my life ever changes. Even this year is starting to feel much the same as the last. The only difference is that I'm 1 year older than before. I mean, that is a significant difference, I'm not going to lie. I would say that is significant to some degree. That's good art. I leave the school through the double metal doors that lead downstairs into the parking lot. While rushing through the courtyard, I hear some raised voices coming from the far end of the sidewalk away from me. Hey, don't hop away from us, Cottontail. Cottontail? I can't quite tell from afar, but a student with the build of a linebacker appears to be harassing someone. A bunny-type monster girl. Aww, she's cute. Looking closer, I recognize her as one of the few monster people in the school, Sophia. There aren't a whole lot of them in the public school system. For various reasons, taking some time for monster people to integrate into society. Wait, did they borrow from my New Eden idea? My Eden Chronicles idea? Because this feels a lot like Eden Chronicles. Okay. A second shorter but slimmer student smoothly slides his arm around Sophia's shoulder. Oh no. I instantly recognize him as Dave, the shadiest guy in school. He's well known for the not-so-savory parties that he throws at his rich parents' house. It's no surprise to me that one of the football players has fallen into one of his schemes. You got any plans this weekend? I want to give him like a Brooklyn accent. You got any plans this weekend? Billy and me know a good place to hang out, free from prying eyes. Sophia's eyes shift around uncomfortably. I hesitate for a moment, thinking that I should just let this pass since there are plenty of other people around. Surely, out of all these people, someone will stick up for her. Despite her shifting hand, Sophia's legs are locked and her feet are frozen in place. She looks like a rabbit caught in a trap. I survey the courtyard and notice that nobody else is even looking in their direction. Don't be in such a rush. We'll show you our favorite hangout spot. Even share a few drinks. Oh, dude, they seem like nice people. They're just offering to hang out with her. You know, they want to be friends. I get... It's cool. This is already wholesome. Please, leave me alone. I have a boyfriend. Oh, I'm sure he wouldn't mind if you just went out for a few drinks with old friends, would he? See, again, wholesome. Wholesome right here. She's clearly lying anyways. Who would actually go out with a cursed freak like her? Cursed? Like, okay, so explain how monster girls exist in this world. Like, are they a race entirely, or are they people who got transformed, or... Because you say cursed freak, so does that mean that she's a human who was transformed into a monster girl, or is she born one, or... Hopefully they'll explain. I hope they explain. You ever thought about being a voice actor? I wouldn't even know where to start. Quiet, moron! Hey, ignore him. Let's just go somewhere a little more quiet. I've been told that a man is defined by the actions he takes, and I don't think I can consider myself much of a man if I don't take action now. Wait, Gabriel? Do we have a problem here? So my name's Gabriel? Sick! Okay. Screw off, man. This is none of your business. You mind your own business. Can't you see we're busy making plans for the weekend? I wasn't talking to you two morons. I was talking to my friend Sophia. It isn't very common for humans and monster people to hang out in most public schools, though there are a few exceptions. Everyone typically keeps to their own group, so it surprises these two that I even know her name. When I glance at Sophia's face, she appears relieved that she's no longer alone in the situation. She takes initiative and pushes Dave's arm off her shoulder. Hold it! I'm not letting you go without having a little fun first. Dave starts after her again and grabs a hold of her waist instead. I instantly reach towards her, but suddenly see stars. Bill, no longer caring about Dave or Sophia, has just sucker punched me directly in the temple. I raise my hands up in defense and get ready to throw punches myself. Sophia stomps on Dave's fancy shoe and makes a break for it. I'll go get a teacher! As she says this, I prepare to defend myself again against the giant in front of me. Oh, come on, you can take this guy. His hair's in front of his eyes. He has no visual reference. You can take him. Get around on his blind side. Somehow, through my imperception, I've ended up with my back against the school building, leaving me no choice but to fight back. He swings wide, giving me the opportunity to duck in and release a flurry of blows. Jab, hook, swing. 2 hits to the gut and 1 in the jaw, all of which he brushes off like it's nothing. In return, he punches me right in the eye, causing me to wince back in pain. Thinking quickly, I rush at him despite his build and try to tackle him back. It does me no good, however, since he's built like a truck, and he pushes me backwards against the wall. He knees me in the gut and grabs my shirt with his hands, causing me to panic. I use the wall to lever some extra force and kick him in the gut, causing him to bend forward in pain. Ooh, smart move. However, right as I do this, we hear Sophia returning with a teacher in tow. Here they are, right over here. And as quickly as it started, it's over. The teacher rushes over, having witnessed only my final kick. She makes an instantaneous judgment then and there as to who is at fault, and has us march to the principal's office. Now hold on, a teacher wouldn't immediately assume guilt. Like, they have to talk to the students and talk to the witnesses. Sophia would back me up. It doesn't matter to them that I wasn't the one who started it. It doesn't matter to them that I was helping someone out of a potentially dangerous situation. All that matters to them is the school's no-tolerance policy. I sit in the chair with the principal looming over me, lecturing me about fighting on school grounds, especially on the first week of school. He sentences me to a week of detention and threatens expulsion if anything like this ever happens again. I shut my brain off to anything else he has to say to me. I'm getting deja vu. This is almost exactly what happened to me in high school. I mean, minus the big jock bully. The guy that I fought was not a jock. I was still sticking up for a bunny girl, though. That was true. All that matters to me is that I was justified in my actions. I don't care what many authoritative body says about it. I know in my heart that I'm right. I just wish I knew how to properly express that. I love this music, by the way. Sounds very somber. Fortunately, my parents are a lot more patient than the school administrators, and I'm able to explain my side of things to them. It's because of situations like this that I know that I have them to thank for my strong sense of justice. My parents, fed up with how schools handled bullying situations, decided to enroll me in a private Catholic school 3 hours away from home. 3 hours? It better be a boarding school. It's not out of nowhere that they have come to this conclusion either. Our local church was offering scholarships over the summer for people wanting to attend during the now current school year, and there are still slots available. My parents asked me if I agree with their assessment whether this will be the best thing for me or not. They seem to regret not having put me through private school earlier, if only for the education. I don't really have any deep attachments to my current school, so I'm not all that opposed to the idea of going to a new private one. Unfortunately, I still have to finish out the rest of the month of my current school, so I ride out the rest of my detention and finish the remaining month keeping my head down and nose clean. On a positive note, during that time I ended up befriending Sophia during my final weeks. Aw, cute design. So this is it, I guess. I guess so. I'm glad I got to know you better before I left, at least. Who knew we'd be in the same bands and basketball teams? Right? I never expected that humans and monster people would have so much in common. Sorry. It's fine. I was thinking the same thing. We really aren't that much different on the inside, it seems. If only I had time to get to know her and her kind more. I still feel bad that you got in trouble even after I gave my side of the story to the principal. Okay, yeah, if Sophia gave her side of the story, then clearly they wouldn't... God, okay, that's the first unrealistic thing about this. Don't worry about it. If you hadn't spoken up afterwards, my detention would have been all day during school with Dave and Bill rather than for an hour after school. Okay, so there was a difference. My detention would have been all day during school with Dave and Bill rather than for an hour after school. So Dave and Bill got an all-day school suspension while he got after-school suspension. First of all, he wouldn't know that because the punishments of other students are not privy to the public. They're not required or allowed to tell what punishments the other students have. So he couldn't know unless rumor got around the school. Secondly, this would be an appropriate punishment set, like give them day school suspension and him after school suspension. But I feel like it also would have been prevalent, like since they were both doing it together, it was premeditated. I think they could face expulsion, but whatever. Hey, cheer up. At least you won't have to keep attending the same school as those jerks anymore. Are you going to be okay despite them being here? Don't worry about me. Us bunny girls are stronger than we look. I'll just stick with my friends after school. Well, be safe, Sophia. And I guess text me if you need anything, not that I can do much 3 hours away. Same goes to you, Gabe. Take care. Yeah, you too. Somehow I doubt we'll keep in touch, but part of me hopes that we will despite the physical distance. After all, it's good to have friends. Hey! By the end of the day, the new school's paperwork is taken care of and all my necessary things are packed up. I think I'm ready to leave this school behind. Still, this will be a massive change for me. I've never been away from home to more than a week, so it will take some getting used to. Wait, you're in high school and you've never been away from home for more than a week? Damn, I was away from home for like 3 weeks on a camping trip when I was like in elementary school. Genesis 6. Whoa, we're already on the Bible? Okay, Genesis 6:1-4. Hold on, I'm opening this up to compare. Genesis 6:1-4. I'm on Genesis 25. Surprised we're already in the Bible, but okay, that's fine. Let's see. Genesis 6:1-4. Here we go. 6:1-4. When human beings began to increase in number on the earth and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of humans were beautiful, and they married any of them they chose. And the Lord said, My spirit will not contend with humans forever, for they are mortal. Their days will be 120 years. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God went to the daughters of humans and had children with them, they were the heroes of old, men of renown. Wait, are they saying that monster people are the Nephilim? What are they saying that? Okay, let's see. And after that, men began multiplying upon the earth, and daughters were born to them. The sons of God, seeing the daughters of men that they were fair, took themselves wives, all of which they chose. And God said, My spirit shall not remain in man forever, because he is flesh, and his days shall be 120 years. Now the Nephilim were upon the earth in those days, for after the sons of God went to the daughters of men, and they brought forth children. These are the mighty men of old, men of renown. Okay, are they saying that Nephilim are the monster people? That's a very interesting take. Okay, all right. I'm interested. I want to see how they make this connection. Jay and I will be talking about this. These few lines of early scripture have been the cause of much controversy for the last century or so. Well, I mean, it's not really controversial. It's more of just, debate. In the late 1950s and early 1960s, mankind shot the first satellites into space. It didn't take very long for these satellites to be used for practical purposes such as weather tracking and observation. During one particular observation effort, scientists discovered some small towns and cities hidden in areas previously unexplored in regions of the 6 major continents populated by humanity. Various world government powers took it upon themselves to send people out to chart these unknown peoples and to find out how they had hidden themselves from the world up into the modern era. What they discovered baffled and scared most of humanity. Monster people whose descriptions were always thought to be mere fantasy, harpies, dragonkin, slimes, succubi, and even vampires were found among various other monster races, each reflecting stories from various myths from the surrounding ancient cultures. Average citizens were terrified. The government called for a quarantine of these newly discovered races. Many religions called them cursed and demon spawn. Okay, yeah, this does feel like Eden Chronicles. Some countries called for their extermination. Many monster people tried to fight back, but ultimately they were overwhelmed by the sheer number of regular humans. In an exception that surprised many, the Vatican made a call to action for Catholics and the whole world to treat these newly discovered humanoids with the dignity and respect that any other human should be given. They reasoned that Christ's church is called to bring the message of salvation to all mankind, and that if these monster people are sapient, they are still to be considered persons first and foremost. Well, that tracks because, the difference between mankind and other races, other creatures, is our sapience, our cognizance. So if monster people have the same sapience and cognizance that we do, then yeah, it stands to reason that they have souls and therefore could be given the message of salvation. So, okay, all right, I'm down with this so far. Still, people being who they are, most rejected this message, and monster people were subjected to oppression by many of the societies who had discovered them. Inspired by the civil rights movement, also happened at the same time in America, many ordinary people joined the efforts of the Catholic and Christian churches in their efforts to humanize these extraordinary people. The Catholic Church was instrumental in spearheading this movement too, having continued against the grain of culture, even going so far as illegally marrying people of different races against the laws of the time. So the Catholic Church was illegally marrying monster people to human people? Interesting. Aren't Nephilim angels, though? It's a matter of debate. Some say that Nephilim are angels. Some say that they're superhumans. Some say that they're demigods. There's a lot of speculation about what the Nephilim are. Me and Jay have talked about it a lot, so we'll come back to it later. Today, more and more people than ever have come to accept monster people just as another race of people, but there are still those who hold such prejudices to call them cursed or demon spawn. The passages from Genesis may or may not describe the true origins of these people, and it may be true that they may have come from a lineage cursed by God or the sinful actions of mankind. But children do not deserve to bear the burden of their parents' sin. That is biblical. At least that's how I see it. No, it's biblical. Jesus said it himself. So, Okay, nothing wrong so far. I'm not against any of this. After an early mass in my hometown, we arrive a day before my first class in order to unpack my bags and find my bearings. The new town is 3 hours away from home, so when we arrive, it's a few hours past lunchtime. We grab a quick bite to eat in town before my parents drop me off at the front gate. My parents and I embrace in a heartfelt goodbye, complete with embarrassing hugs and kisses at the front gate. Aww, so sweet. I remain behind while they depart for the dorms to drop off my bag so I can start becoming acquainted with the campus. Maybe I'm just feeling optimistic, but it seems to me like the front gate is arms stretched open wide and welcome. I hope that this gesture is a good sign that I'm in the right place. Pondering for a moment, I think about what life is going to be like once I walk through those arms. Academics aside, I wonder how different a private Catholic school will be compared to my old public one. I'm a cradle Catholic, which means I was born and raised Catholic. Okay. Despite this, I've never really had a deep connection with God. Oh, dude. I get you. That's how I was. I was born and raised Christian too, and there are times where I didn't feel that deep connection. It's not that I don't believe or anything. It's just I've never really felt any closeness with my faith despite going to church as a bunch as a kid. I'm sure there's something more to the whole religion thing, but for now I just do my basic duty and go to church. I've received all the sacraments thus far as well, the most recent having been confirmation. Okay. They put us through a kind of faith formation education class every Wednesday for a few years leading up to it. And this is one of my big problems with the Catholic faith, all the ritual behind it. It's very unnecessary. I don't feel like I learned much from it, however. Exactly! You don't learn much from ritual. It has to be personal. Surely there's more to Catholicism than just knowing the sacraments and a few Bible verses. Yes! There is way more to Christianity than that! I wish they had just given us more straightforward answers to certain questions, like why we should even bother going to church on Sundays. Well, okay, I mean, we can talk about that. Like, we can talk about the necessity of church, and we can talk about the necessity... I mean, I would argue it's not even so important that you go to church on Sundays, but you spend time in the Word of God, but whatever. Can't we just be spiritually close to God through prayer? Yes, that is one way, but you also need community. You need a community of believers. That's the importance of the church. You're not just believing, you're also building a community of believers. Isn't he everywhere after all? Regardless, I know that despite some people in the Catholic Church history, the Church itself is largely a force for good in the world. Yes, this is true. It does seem to provide the more charitable services in the world, especially in the healthcare and education sectors. Yes, it does. Okay, question, is this telling a story or is this giving me church apologetics? What the heck? Plus, there's a good bit of wisdom in the Bible and through the stories of the saints. Yes, there is. Yes, and I've heard some good things about that Jesus fellow. That Jesus fellow! Bruh. You're a Catholic and you say that Jesus fellow. Okay. Come on, bro! Even non-Christians can't seem to see much fault in him. You haven't talked to many non-Christians. There are plenty of non-Christians who have stuff bad to say about Jesus. They're wrong, but they have stuff bad to say. I wonder how the God of all creation would react to being referred to that way. Referred to being what? Like, referred to badly? Surely he at least has a sense of humor. Oh, he does. God does have a sense of humor. He made me. Like, that's probably the biggest joke he could ever tell. Otherwise, why would he have humored us with his presence? Whoa, that was a turnabout. I wasn't expecting that. Anyways, whether or not I'm close to him in the present moment, all I can do is move forward and do good for myself and others. That's a good outlook, yeah. And as I said through the school gate, I've resolved to do just that for my own life, and those paths intersect with my own. I will go forth and become a better person so I can affect positive change in the world. And who knows, maybe while I'm here, I'll find the path that God wants me to take. Okay. I step forward and begin my trek through campus to familiarize myself with the school grounds. A few dozen students are roaming from one place to another, enjoying their last day off before the weekend finishes. I start to feel a bit isolated since I'm coming from a different school halfway through my high school career, a month into my junior year at that. I hope that I don't have any trouble making new connections. Still, this place doesn't look half bad, comfy even. I think I could get used to it. I wander aimlessly for a few minutes, clueless as to where I am headed, when I notice a large, beast-looking man walking in my direction. 2 giant ox horns adorn his head. I don't mean to stare, but it really is imposing at first glance. Besides this, I notice that he's dressed in a priestly garb. Oh, okay, he must be the chaplain, Father John. While he approaches me, I wonder to myself if I should ask him for directions. Surely he'd be the one to ask for guidance around here, and almost as if he can read my mind, he asked me before I even have a chance. Whoa! He looks just like Alexander from Monster Club. Bruh! Okay, cool. Hey there, friend. You look like a lost sheep. Can I help you find your way? Sure, Father John. No, if he's Catholic, we gotta give him the Irish accent. Yes, Father. I'm transferred here as a junior. I just arrived today and was looking to find my bearings. Well, fortunately for you, it's my job to help the lost find their way. By the way, I'm Father John. I'm the chaplain here at St. Thomas Aquinas High School. St. Thomas Aquinas High School! Peak! I want to go to this school. Thomas Aquinas was a giga-chad. I want to go to the school now. Yes, sir, I kind of guessed from the descriptions I've heard of, no offense. None taken. I know I'm kind of hard to miss. Anyway, it's nice to meet you. My name's Gabriel, though most people call me Gabe. A messenger of God in need of guidance, then. How ironic. Well, I think you're in luck, because a reliable servant of the Lord has appeared to us. Father John gestures behind us to a monster boy who at first glance seems tired and unkempt. This is Damien. He's in your grade and a student council member to boot. Damien, would you mind terribly showing Gabe around campus? He's new here and needs someone to show him around. I don't mind. He raises his hand in a short, motionless wave. Yo, I'm Damien, Daywalker. Oh, like a vampire who walks in the daylight. Doesn't that defeat the purpose? I do likewise awkwardly copying a short wave while responding. I'm Gabe, human. I wanted to make a joke about me also walking around during the day, but I still don't know how people might react to unsolicited jokes about their monster race. Well, it was nice to meet you, Gabe, but if you don't mind... Not at all. Sorry for keeping you. I'm sure you're still pretty busy on Sundays, even after Mass. Indeed I am. The work of a priest is never done. Best of luck finding your bearings. Make sure to come by the chapel sometime in the evenings if you're ever in need of a spiritual guidance or in need of a confession heard. Of course, I'm always available in case of emergencies. Anyways, welcome to St. Thomas. And he's gone. Thank you for that. My Irish accent is a little rusty. I'm now left in the Daywalker's care. Okay, can I just say that this guy looks like he needs a cheeseburger? Although Damien sure doesn't look like he has the energy to do anything but sleep, much less lead me anywhere. So you're a junior too, huh? What made you come to St. Thomas High? It's a long story. The short version is that I got in a fight defending someone else, and my parents and I had a different perspective on the topic of justice than the school did. Oh yeah, sounds complicated. So what have you seen around school so far? Just the front gate in here. Great, let's head towards the most popular lunch hangout. Then we can head inside so you can see where our classes are held. I have some business around there and elsewhere, so I'll get it done while showing you around. Thanks, and sorry for the inconvenience. Don't sweat it. It's my job to make sure all students are taken care of as school council member. Wait, he's on the school council? Befriend this man quickly. The school council has more power than a local government. Though he doesn't look the type, he must do a lot of good for the school to have the chaplain rely on him like this. With Damien at the helm, I follow him to our next destination. Onward! Tally-ho! We arrive in an open field with oak trees and picnic tables arranged near one another. The area is filled with students, the most prominent of which are a group of cheerleaders chanting synchronized cheers. I try to keep a steady pace with Damien, but I struggle to keep up as he makes a surprisingly quick beeline to the cheerleaders. Oh, Damien wants it! By the time I catch up, the routine is finished, and Damien starts talking to what looks like the head cheerleader. Unlike at my old school, I notice a lot of diversity among the group. Are you saying that your public school wasn't diverse enough? Okay. Half of them are ordinary humans, while the other half are monster girls. Oh, you meant in terms of monster and human. Okay, thought you meant something else. Whoa! A blue-feathered bird-type monster girl sneaks away from the group while I'm idling by myself waiting for Damien. She must be a harpy. I would hope. I haven't heard much about them except what was told about in ancient legends. Mostly that they used to pick up random travelers and kidnap them with their sharp, imposing talons. This harpy's short, brightly colored hair and her bright blue feathers lower the intimidation factor by at least half. And if she wasn't already coming closer, I'd say she looks very approachable. Those old tales can't be true, can they? She's getting too close! Hey there! I haven't seen you around before. I'm Sarah. What a way to spell Sarah. Oh, hey, I'm Gabe, as in Gabriel. I reach my hand out to greet her before realizing that it might be awkward to grasp a harpy talon. Her hand reaches mine before I can stop myself, and despite how it looks, the inside of her palm is surprisingly soft and her grip gentle. Nice to meet you. So am I right? Are you new here? Yeah, I'm a junior. I come from a little town 3 hours away. A junior, huh? Me too. What brings you all the way out here? I figure I'll have to repeat this a few times, so I quickly invent a way to summarize it for anyone that wants to know. Long story short, I got into a fight defending someone at school, and they had no tolerance policy in place. Ooh, scary. A ruffian or a knight in shining armor. You'll have to spill the details later. Well, yeah, so this is a popular hangout during lunch hours, huh? Oh yeah, it's where I usually catch up with all the latest gossip. Talk with all my friends. Of course, there's an inside cafeteria as well, which is nice for when it's raining. The food's okay too, I guess. If you want to find someone during lunch or after school, this is the most likely place that you'll find them. Just then Damien cuts in. Hey, Gabe, I'm done in this area. Let's go to the next place. All right, nice to meet you, Sarah. Guess I'll see you tomorrow.
Yep, nice to meet you too.
Sarah skips back to her squad members, bouncing on her feet with every step. Next up, our classroom. There are just a few things I need to get from there before we continue on. Lead the way. Onward, tally-ho! We're really moving. We enter the building together and walk down a long hallway. Poster boards and lockers line the walls, interrupted by doors and even intervals that lead to various classrooms. I'll give the writer this. This is good description. Damien stops in front of a particular room and reaches in for the doorknob. This is our homeroom. We have about 20 students in this year, including you, and about half are monster people. That's a lot more than we had at my public school. Yeah, makes sense. Not a lot of us feel like we fit in at the public schools. What's different about this school? He paused for a moment and thinks to himself. I didn't mean for the conversation to go in that direction. It seems like it could be too much of a personal question. Seems pretty fine in my experience so far. Most people are friendly enough or just don't care. There will always be some isolated incidents, of course. Private schools can sometimes lead to elitism among wealthier students if the school doesn't stomp it out. It makes you wonder if Sophia and really all monster people would fare better at a school like this. I guess I'll find out this year one way or another. You don't seem too bothered to be around monster people for someone who comes from a public school. What do you think gave you a different perspective? Honestly, I haven't put that direct thought into it before. It always felt natural to accept others for who they are and not just by their appearance alone. Usually. I don't know for sure, but I was raised Catholic, so maybe that? There's always a fair mix of people in the pews at Mass, at least, even if there are more humans than monster people. Fair enough. Damien makes a move to reach his hand towards the doorknob, but briefly stops and looks back. Hey, if you ever have any questions about monster people, don't be afraid to ask. Most of us aren't bothered, but sometimes it's amusing what questions people come up with. Even with the little time I spent with Sophia, I didn't have much of a chance like this. I'll take advantage of this offer sooner or later. Huh, all right, I'll keep that in mind. He turns back around and disappears at the doorway. I follow once again. I continue to follow Damien closely behind. He points out a few other relevant classrooms here and there as we walk along. On the way to the library, we run into two girls who are arguing over something.
Come on, Eva. Let me see what book you checked out. I'll bet it's another steamy romance novel. A relatively short slime girl is teasing a blushing succubus who appears flustered. I can tell at first glance by the smug grin of the slime girl that she's a troublemaker. Oh, God. How is she Isn't her uniform, like, soaked? Most of her body seems to be composed of a semi-translucent, slimy material, all of which seems to hold up surprisingly well. I look more closely, I notice her extremely sleep-deprived eyes and two cute little antennae poking out of the front of her hair. It reminds me of the rumors I've heard about slime people. I can totally see why people would think they're aliens, but I've never seen any tangible proof. To her right, to her side, the succubus, who despite her already bright red skin, appears to be blushing heavily at the slime girl's teasing. She has two little horns protruding from her dark black hair, and a slender tail coming out from behind her that ends in a pointed spade. Her solid black eyes are illuminated by her bright yellow pupils. And while she is also shorter than me, she still has a few inches on the slime girl. Cut it out, Clover. It's none of your business what I got, okay? I promise I won't tell anyone, except maybe Damien over there.
Hey, Clover, picking on Eva again? Don't be too hard on her, you know she's sensitive.
Am not!
Clover snickers devilishly. Anyways, this is Gabe. He'll be in our class starting tomorrow. Nice to meet you both. Clover eyes me up and down with a smug grin on her face. Eva looks at me with some hesitation, but quickly looks away when she notices my eyes looking back.
Likewise.
Eva looks back at me slightly suspicious and replies,
Nice to meet you too. Anyways, we better get going so Eva here can start on her new romance novel.
Eva smacks Clover's head with her book, which gives a distinct splat, then rushes off blushing.
Hold on, Eva, wait up.
Those two normally get along, but Clover likes getting reactions out of poor Eva. It's okay, I understand. As long as they're just friends teasing in the spirit of good fun, yeah? If they weren't both different monster types, I'd assume they were sisters. Yeah, does seem that way sometimes. Anyways, this is where the library is. When you have more time, you should go inside and check it out. There's a wide range of literature to choose from and a pretty decent computer lab. Let's check out the gym next. Onward! I'm kind of surprised they added a succubus in the succubuses are like sex demons, so I don't even know. How are they going to approach that? Coming out of the back end of the school, the doors open up to a large field next to what looks like a gymnasium. Outside, multiple students are hanging out, throwing balls, and performing various other physical activities. I guess Sundays are still pretty busy for some of the sports clubs. Not always, though. Some of us like to get ahead of the competition, especially her. As we weave out of the way of the various sports groups, my eyes focus on almost entirely in sync. Whoa!
In front of the group, a tall dragonkin leads her movements with impressive gusto. Ha! Ya! Ha! It quickly appears why she's the leader. Beside her extremely tan and fit appearance, she towers over most of the rest of the group. 2 piercing horns protrude from the side of her head, giving her a rather imposing appearance. Despite this, her sharp gaze implies her sharp wits. Her hair is drenched in sweat, which pours over the shiny red scales on the side of her face. Alright, guys, let's take a break. Just as she calls for a break, Damien walks over to greet her. What's up, Ren? Working the team hard on a weekend, I see. You can't let a day off be an excuse to get lazy. Let no day go to waste. Ren glances over my direction, aware of my approach. This is Gabe. He's new here. He transferred from a public school this year because he got in a fight at his old one. Ren turns to fully face me and looks me up and down as if decides me up before a brawl. Well then, maybe you should join the martial arts club if you think you can handle yourself in a fight. I thought it was odd that Damien would bring up the fighting part of my intro, but it makes sense now. A not-so-subtle way to advertise the martial arts club, I guess. I'll have to think on it. The fight was a spur-of-the-moment thing. I don't really care for violence. No excuses! The martial arts aren't about starting fights, just finishing them when necessary. I like this girl. I like her. It's a good answer. Ironically, right after saying this, she playfully punches me hard in the left shoulder, giving a distinct smack. Again, I like her. She smirks at me as she does this. Just think about it. I'm usually practicing here in the gym after school. If it'll help me dodge your punches, I might have to. I say this while massaging my likely bruised shoulder. You're funny. I'll see you in gym class then. I'm trying to decide between a country accent or like a southern accent for her. I'll work it out. She turns to face her fellow martial artists and starts rallying them back into training. She's one of the school's best athletes. Not just in martial arts, but also basketball, volleyball, track, lifting. Actually, I don't think there's a sport she isn't good at. Speaking of, if you don't join the martial arts team, consider joining the basketball team. The season doesn't start until the beginning of November. Plus, there's the bonus that the harpy girl you were talking to earlier, Sarah, will cheering you on during the matches. Imagine myself being cheered for by Sarah. I almost blush, but quickly compose myself. I'll have to think on that too. I've never formally joined any team sports before, but I can't say that I'm bad at them casually either. Well, look out in gym class regardless. There's a good chance that Ren will challenge you and Sarah will be watching. I'll keep that in mind. With the prospect of being staked out during gym by 2 monster girls on my mind, we continue our journey. Okay, I think we've met all the monster girls, haven't we? Is that everyone? We arrive at the outside of a very tall and imposing church. Not that imposing, but okay. It soars high above any other buildings around, and it doesn't seem to be afraid of letting its presence known. Still, it's only the size and sharp spires that make it imposing. The house of God is meant to be a place of awe worthy of representing its spiritual head. Almost no Catholic church building worth its merit can be mistaken for what it represents. And finally, we have the chapel. Mass is held every Wednesday before school, replacing first period, and every Sunday at 10:30 a.m. Thanks, I'll commit it to memory so I don't miss it. Speaking of time, I'm almost late for an evening appointment. I'll catch up with you later. Alright, thanks again for the tour. I'll have to make it up to you sometime. Don't sweat it. Later. He wanders off another direction, throwing another one of his signature waves over his back and leaving me in front of the chapel doors. The noise of the crowds of students had died down compared to earlier. I suppose it is dinner time after all. Since I'm already here, I approach the chapel doors intending to just take a peek inside. Oh, that looks beautiful. That looks very nice. Yeah. This is very well designed. I don't know who did the art for this, but they deserve commendation. This is very good. I allow my senses to take in my surroundings. The church appears to be mostly empty and quiet. A few steps in, I hear a faint humming coming from one of the back pews. I reverently walk down the center aisle about a third of the way in until I locate the source of the sound. Whoa! Okay, I forgot the vampire chick. A girl with long black ponytail and big red ribbon is leaning sideways in the middle of the pew. She reminds me of the members of a punk band I once saw on TV. The red and black striped stocking and the little skull on her chest really complete the look. She quickly types on her cell phone, which gently humming on an unfamiliar tune. She doesn't seem to notice me, so I sit down in the same pew on the far side away from her to take in the reverent atmosphere. The inside of the church is adorned in all manner of gold colors, stained glass, and statues of saints. Up towards the front of the altar is immaculate except for a long cloth covering its top. Behind the altar on the wall rests a golden box common to all Catholic churches. I believe it's called the tabernacle. Well, yeah. That's where they put the bread after communion for storage as far as I recall. Yeah. Just then I hear the front doors of the church swing wide open. Father John steps through, heading down the aisle towards the altar. This alerts the girl sitting in the front of the side of the pew of my presence. She stops typing on her phone, takes a quick glance at me, then gets up to leave. I make a motion to stand up and get out of her way, but end up stumbling into her. Before I can move again, I notice that she has 2 fangs protruding from her mouth. She must be a daywalker like Damien. I wonder if they know each other, considering how rare they are. Excuse me. Sorry, let me get out of your way. I didn't mean to interrupt. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I was finished here anyways. She hurries past me and leaves out the front door, passing Father John along the way. Father John continues his pace, passing her with a gentle smile until he stops in front of me. "Ah, Gabe, you came. It shows a lot about your character to come to confession on the first day before your new school." Sorry to disappoint, but my motives aren't so pure as that. The front of the church just happened to be the last stop of Damien's tour before he had to run off. By the way, who is that vampire-looking girl that just walked out of the church? Oh, that's Aria. She comes in here every once in a while during off hours. I feel that she hasn't yet accepted the promptings of the Holy Spirit to accept the Lord into her life, but at least she seems content in the chapel's serene atmosphere. Far be it from me to prevent her from spending time in the presence of the Blessed Sacrament. What she does in here is a little concern to me, unless she wishes to make it known. A non-religious vampire in a church, huh? Sounds like the beginning of a joke, really. I've heard many strange things, but you can't get more out of place than that. How about a succubus in a Catholic school? I wonder if she just has a complicated background. I won't judge her for it. Live and let live, I suppose. By the way, you must not know much about them, but daywalkers don't usually like being referred to as vampires. They're of a different nature, after all. Sorry, I have a feeling I'm going to be learning a lot of new things about monster people. Fortunately, Damien did extend an invitation to me for an open question, so I'll catch up with him on that kind of stuff later. It's good to know about the people you'll be around every day, even more so for a Christian whose divine purpose is to witness to all peoples. Anyways, if you have anything on your mind that's bothering you, I can offer you absolution or advice. Whatever you're comfortable with, though the former will be more spiritually effective. It's always good to start afresh in a new school, after all. I don't really have a reason to refuse. It'd be nice to have a clean slate going to this new school, and a bit of God's grace never hurt either. It's been quite a while since I've been, after all. I've mostly just gone through the motions of going to church. Maybe this could be the start of going back into track for being more faithful. It might also be useful to clear my mind of any doubts surrounding the fight of in my previous school. Yeah, I think I'll help you on that offer. But it's been a while, so forgive me if I'm a little rusty. In that case, I'll guide you along the way. But if you prefer to brush up and meditate in private, we have pamphlets on the side over there. He points to a shelf on the wall with many different informational pamphlets ranging from confession to dealing with loss. Thanks, Father, I'll do just that. Splendid! I'll head back into the confession booth then. You come in whenever you're ready. Father John smiles back warmly. I can feel that he's a genuine person who really cares about his students. He turns on his heels and treads reverently towards the confessional. Grabbing one of the pamphlets, I unfold the tract and skim through the beginning. According to this, it's good to start with an examination of conscience. It says that sins can be categorized using the 7 deadly sins, which you can use as a guide to determine what you have done wrong. Greed, lust, wrath, gluttony, envy, sloth. And the father of all sins, pride. Greed doesn't seem to be a sin that I struggle with. Granted, I'll be more blessed with a life where I haven't wanted for much. Gluttony, envy, and pride haven't reared their ugly heads in my life much either, though it could be pride to think like that in the first place. I'll have to meditate on that further another time. I can't say I've never dealt with lust before, but I usually keep myself too busy to fall into that temptation very often. Lust is a real one, yeah. A lot of men deal with that one. Plus, we keep our computers in a common family area, so I usually try to steer clear of any sites that might provoke unwanted parental attention. As far as sloth goes, I can definitely afford to be more diligent in my prayer life and increase my acts of service to others. And if I'm wrong about my idea of justice concerning the fight, then wrath could be a concern as well. I mean, I don't think I was wrong to do what I did. I was helping someone else get out of a bad situation, after all. It can't hurt to get some clarification on things, so I'll ask anyways. I'm definitely still holding some resentment for the unjust punishments that my previous school doled out to me, however. I take all these thoughts and meditate over them in the pews for a few minutes, trying to think of anything else I may have forgotten. Finishing my meditations, I decide that I'm prepared for my first confession in quite a while. All right, I think I'm ready to go. I stand up out of my seat and head towards the confessional booth. With my offhand holding on the pamphlet, I take a hold of the door and go inside where Father John is waiting. I close the door behind me. The door makes an audible click. I wonder if I should sit in front of Father John or not, since that appears to be an optional according to what I just read. Oh, we got to make our choice? I'm going to say sit face to face. I know that typically you sit behind the screen, but I think it's better to, be up front. I chose to sit in front of him. He greets me with a warm smile. I begin reading off the pamphlet, a formulaic introductory prayer that seems to simplify the beginning of the sacrament. I confess to Almighty God and to you, Father, that I have sinned. It's been quite a while since my last confession. First off, I could be more diligent against sloth by strengthening my prayer life and increasing my acts of service to my fellow man. Very good, son. I'm glad you decided to come back again. It's required by the church to go at least once a year, but we can all use a little extra grace more often, can't we? Required by the church to go at least once a year?
I wasn't aware that was a Catholic thing. That's crazy.
Plus, we all fall short of the glory of God, so he is there to help us. As for your lack of good works, there are plenty of opportunities here on campus for acts of service for you, if that is what you seek. Do you have anything else you would like to confess? Yes, Father. So I'm not exactly sure if this is a sin or not due to the circumstances, but the reason I left my old school is that I had gotten myself in a fight while defending someone else who was in an uncomfortable situation. 2 sleazeballs were aggressively hitting on a monster girl, and she clearly told them she wasn't interested. One thing led to another, and I ended up kicking one of them in the gut to get away, after he got in a good few punches on me. Well, are you confessing or are you bragging?
Okay, that's good. Father John chuckles to himself a bit.
I'm only joking. Of course, there are times when our anger goes too far and becomes wrath, but anger itself is a useful tool. When you're using that tool to defend yourself or others, it becomes what is known as righteous anger, something that even Jesus did when he flipped the tables in the temples. But what of the whole dialogue of turn the other cheek Jesus spoke of? I figured I would take this opportunity to get that question answered, since it seems like a contradiction. In biblical times, there were many customs that need to be taken into context today, including certain idioms that were popular in the day. In that instance, Jesus was teaching people that if someone insults you or slapped you on the cheek, that you should invite them to do it again to the other. He was pointing out the frivolity of such actions. There is nothing to be gained by returning an insult to someone who only wishes ill of you. However, that doesn't apply to the case when you or someone else is in imminent danger. In such a case, we defer to the other passages concerning the defense of the innocent and the righteous anger. Thank you for clearing that up for me, Father. Actually, time out. That was spot on. That was actually the spot on interpretation of that verse. I was genuinely not expecting that, but legit, that is spot on the interpretation. I'm actually, okay, so far, 10 out of 10 on, biblical interpretation. This is very good. So I like that. I feel like I already knew that, but I'm glad to know that my sense of justice isn't too far from what the church teaches. I have a lot of things to do about all this. I'm thankful that he's both knowledgeable and understanding. It's really reassuring that there are people who can give clear and concise answers like this. I would like to confess my resentments against the administrators of the school. I know I was right, but it's probably not healthy to hold on to anger like that. Understandable anger in the face of unjust punishment, but yes, it would be healthy to let it go. Instead, pray that you will gain the wisdom that comes from God to judge righteously and with justice. Those are all the sins I can recall at this time. In that case, before I give you your penance, I would suggest joining one of the school clubs, each of which should give you an opportunity to serve others, God, and yourself. For your actual penance, I want you to pray and meditate on the Lord's Prayer, focusing on the words, Our Father. Especially in the fact that he loves us so much as to humble himself so far as to allow us to call him so familiarly, Abba, Father, as we are his children. And finally, I want you to say a prayer for the people who were tormenting you and your friend, as well as the administrators at your former school. It may be hard to do, but pray for a conversion of heart that may become better people through Jesus our Lord. That might be fairly difficult for me with how I feel about them, but I'll give it some thought. Now please, pray an act of contrition. Looking back down at the tract, I say the prayer at the end, which appears to hit all the right meanings as it was tempered over time through the ages. As I try to focus on what all the words truly mean, I begin to remember some of it from my faith formation classes. Perhaps I remember more than I thought. As I finish, Father John begins his final prayer of absolution. God, the Father of mercies, through the death and resurrection of his Son, has reconciled the world to himself and sent the Holy Spirit among us for the forgiveness of sins. Through the ministry of the church, may God give you pardon and peace, and I absolve you from your sins in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. At these words, I absolve you from your sins, I feel a deep warmth and even a shiver inside of me. Okay, so one thing that I do want to bring up here, this is something that I do not agree with in terms of the Catholic Church. I don't like the idea that a priest says, I absolve you of your sins. Priests don't have that power. No human has that power. Only God has that power. So the idea of, there's nothing wrong with confessing your sins to someone. That's not a problem. You can confess your sins to a spiritual leader like a priest or a pastor. That's totally fine. But the idea that you need them to give you absolution is already given by the Lord. You pray to the Lord for forgiveness. You don't pray to a priest for forgiveness. Now, in this sense, I think what they're doing here is they're kind of going with the whole idea is that he is praying to God and the priest is kind of guiding him through that prayer, which is fine. I'm not against that. But it's something that I've always held, like,
contradictory to the Catholic Church. I believe in a direct relationship with God. Like, you take it to God. You take your problems and your fears and concerns to God. There's nothing wrong with confessing your sins or confessing your fears or looking for advice. That's totally fine and just. But when you start saying, I need a priest to absolve me of my sins because God can't do it without a priest, that's a problem. So that's what I was saying there. The Holy Spirit, I cannot say, but I won't doubt. Amen, and thank you, Father. Oh, hold on. What's up, Lark?
I don't know.
All right. Let me know when you're done, and I'll meet you up.
All right.
All right. Anytime, son. I stand up again, reflecting on the great mystery I just participated in. Maybe there is something more to these sacraments than I've been giving attention to. I gently retreat through the door of the confessional and close it behind me. Still a reverent state of mind, I start walking down the aisle, heading towards the front of the church to pray. As I pass near the front pews, I notice a certain succubus that I met earlier praying by herself. Aren't they supposed to be related to demons somehow? I also dismiss the thought. Even I know that demons don't have physical bodies. The reality is I still have some biases left over from the media I consume as students at my old school. She looks at me a little surprised, but averting her eyes back down to the book she holds in her hands, trying very hard to evade my notice. I decide to let her be and start to pass her by when I hear a small voice behind me.
Hey, is Father John ready for another confession?
Turning back around, I see her looking up at me from behind the book. It doesn't appear to be the one she hit Clove over the head with earlier. I believe so. I didn't see anyone else behind me before I went in. Besides, that daywalker girl who left, so you're good to go.
Arya, you mean? Anyways, thank you.
She gave me a short nod and hurried towards the confessional booth, her tail trailing behind her in a little room. I can only presume what a succubus girl would confess, but I wouldn't be uncharitable. Allowing the thought to escape my mind, I find an empty space near the front to pray and perform my penance. Lord, I know we don't talk much except during morning prayers, but thank you for letting me have the opportunity to confess my sins to you this evening. Next, I pray the Our Father, focusing on the beginning like Father John said. The idea that an almighty being would humble himself to create us and call us his children is astonishing if I really think about it. I start meditating on that, all the different parts of the prayer and their meanings. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. When I pray this as a rote prayer in the morning, the meaning slips me by, but there does seem to be a lot more to it now that I'm slowing down. Is this the standard by which God will judge us? Will God hold it against me if I don't forgive others of their sins? What if I don't forgive those bullies and just simply never bully someone else? Is that sufficient forgiveness in God's eyes? I ponder this and more in silence while I think of something to say to God about those who wronged me as well. God, I know you saw everything that happened then. Father John told me I was not entirely in the wrong for the self-defense part, but I'm sorry for the resentments that I've been holding on to. Please bring those people to a better mindset and a better understanding of what they did to the both of us. And help me to always be aware of my anger so that I only use it as a tool for righteousness. Amen. I hope that is acceptable. I always feel awkward talking with God on a personal level. Well, yes, it is a little awkward, but it's necessary. You do it often enough, it becomes more natural. Perhaps it's like any other relationship, it just gets better with time. Correct. See, that's what I'm talking about. Talking to God like that. I don't really think that you need to go to the priest. You could just talk to God about that, you know. Done with my prayer and penance, I stand back and prepare to leave the church. Before I leave, I dip a finger into my holy water font and make the sign of the cross for a quick blessing while walking out the door. Again, the ritual stuff. Stepping outside, I notice the sun has already set over the tree line. Oh! It's you again. I look around the empty courtyard in front of the chapel. The daywalker I saw earlier is sitting on a bench quickly typing into her phone. Just as she finishes writing and lowering her phone, I approach her to apologize for startling her before. Hey, sorry about earlier. I know the church is supposed to be a place of meditation. I didn't mean to interrupt your concentration.
Don't worry about it. I was just taking down notes of a few ideas that were stuck in my head.
Are you a writer then, perhaps?
Something like that, I guess.
I see. Well, I won't keep you from what you're doing. See you around campus then? I turn to leave to find my way to the dorms, but then I remember that I don't know how to get there from here. Actually, do you know where the guys' dorms are from here? I'm a new transfer student. My name is Gabe, by the way.
I'm Arya, but yeah, go back around that building over there. Go straight for a while until you pass a big tree. You'll notice it when you get there. By the way, are you a junior?
Yeah, how'd you guess?
You just seemed a little younger than me, that's all. I'll see you around campus then.
She picks up her stuff and heads in roughly the opposite direction of where she directed me to go. Younger than her, huh? I guess that means Arya is a senior. I still wonder what she was writing in her phone. I guess I'll just have to get to know her better to pierce the veil of mystery that surrounds her. Well, given the fact that her name is Arya and she's humming, probably music notes. She's probably a musician. I set off in the direction Arya pointed to earlier and make my way to the dorms. Finally, I make the turn over the big tree, and just as Arya described, I saw the dorms in the distance. Walking through the common area, I see a handful of other students hanging out and catching up before class begins tomorrow morning. I overhear a conversation about the games they played instead of weekend homework, while another is talking about a girl he's crushing on one grade below him. Continuing the hallway, I look for my room, number 143. Right there. Oh gosh, looks like my old college dorm. Although mine was a little smaller, I open the door and take my first steps inside. My bags are in the middle of the room where my parents must have left them. There's a note on the luggage that simply says, "We love you, Gabriel, and hope you have a great semester at your new school. If you ever need us, don't hesitate to call. Love, Mom and Dad." I gather my things and put them where they belong. They probably won't remain orderly for long, but I may as well put them in their proper place while I'm thinking about it. I set my laptop on by my desk and my Bible on my bedside table for the finishing touches. Today has been a very different compared to what I'm used to. Besides coming to an entirely new school, I've had some face-to-face conversations with monster people in a day that I think I have in the past year. It's not like they're a rarity or anything. I just never had much reason to interact with them before today. I mean, it's not like monster people are all that common. This school just has a lot more than anywhere else I've visited. I wonder if the whole town is like this. Regardless of going to be around a lot of monster people, I better start getting to know them a little better. Who knows? Maybe I'll get a new best friend or two. Damien seems like a nice enough guy. I wonder if he's sincere about open to any questions about monster people. Considering how important he seems around here, I better stick close to him if I want a chance to get to know people. He already introduced me to so many people. Sarah had a bright and peppy personality. She seemed like the kind of person that could brighten up your day no matter what's going on in your life. Ren, on the other hand, came up as the type of friend who wouldn't just help you through a tough situation, but train you through it too. Now, Clover was an interesting sight. It's not every day you see a slime person. There must be only like 50,000 or so on the whole planet, maybe a few more in other countries. I'll have to shamefully admit, Eva caught me off guard. I never put much thought into it, but I've only ever seen succubi depicted in most TV shows as either teasingly sassy or overtly sultry. But nothing in Eva's mannerisms suggests anything of the sort. In fact, she's one of the only monster people I met today inside of the church. In line for confession, no less. Ari, on the other hand, is exactly how I've seen Daywalkers portrayed, not to a stereotype or anything. She came across to me as mysterious, ethereal, and a little bit edgy, though she too was in the church, so maybe there's something about her I'm not seeing. That goes to show how little I know about monster people. As my mind races over the events of the day and the people I've met, I drift into a restless sleep, still not used to my surroundings. Whew! Reading all this is wearing out my voice. Give me a second. Whew! Okay. I need something to drink. Give me a second, guys. I need to drink something if I'm going to keep doing this. Woo! All right. Okay. I needed that. Okay. Okay, so far, this isn't bad. This isn't bad. I'm enjoying this. My eyes open to an unfamiliar ceiling. I must have been exhausted last night because I don't even remember setting my alarm. I grab my phone from the bedside table and check the time. It's 6:30 a.m. I force my body into an upright position and swing my legs over the side of the bed. Rubbing my eyes, I start my morning ritual. 10 squats, 10 push-ups, 15 sit-ups. That's child's play! You must do 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, a 10-kilometer run every single day, and then you will lose all your hair and become Saitama. I'm sorry. I'm losing my mind. It might not seem like a lot, but doing it each morning helps wake me up and gives me energy. Yeah, actually, it's not a bad idea. I should probably do that. I grab a towel, my shower gear, and head into the bathroom. Okay, that is such a nice bathroom. It is such a nice bathroom. It looks so much better than my college bathroom. What the heck? After checking the temperature for a few seconds to make sure it's ideal, I step into the warm water. Call me weak, but always find a warm morning shower gently waking me up a lot less stressful than a cold shower full of energy. I prepare my mind for the day by meditating in the shower and reciting my morning prayers. This time I pay a little more attention to the words I'm saying after last night. It's always just been a simple Our Father and any other little thing on my mind. Something my dad taught me when I was younger. While your mind is still waking up, focus your will on God and the rest of your day will go His way. Huh. That's not a bad saying. Hold on, I might take a picture of that. That's a pretty good proverb, actually. That's not bad. I'm going to take a picture of that. My God, this thing's actually teaching me something. I was not expecting this today. Okay. At the very least, it has always helped me clear my mind and focus on the goals for the day. Today's primary goal is paying attention in class so I'm not left behind. I'm a month behind everyone else, after all. The school sent me a homework package before I arrived with the expectation that it would catch me up, at least. Also, I'm meditating on the day. I wonder if other people's morning rituals have any resemblance to my own. After finishing up in the shower, I put on my uniform and scarf down a quick breakfast bar for my morning meal. It's not ideal nutrition, but it does its job of holding me over until lunch. All the other guys wearily make their way through the hall and out the doors into the campus. I follow the steady but disconnected streams of students heading from all over the main school building. Okay? As I enter the classroom, I'm greeted by a familiar face.
Good morning, Gabe. Did you find your way here all right?
Such a bright and cheery attitude that early leaves no doubt in me that she's a morning person. Well, the early bird! Love it. Good morning, Sarah. You're here early. Class doesn't start for another 10 minutes.
Well, you know what they say, the early bird gets...
No! I made the joke first. I made the joke first. You don't get, no! You back off right now. I made that joke. I made the joke. Gah. All these monster people stealing our jokes. No! I'm mad now. Though I can't really stand to touch worms, too slimy. Now that makes me wonder if harpies actually do eat worms, though I'm too afraid to ask. Oh, anyway, speaking of worms, here comes Ren. I follow Sarah's gaze to the door and watch as Ren enters with a backpack slung over her shoulder with one hand.
What's happening, Sarah?
See, she's saying what's happening. That's so southern her country.
What's happening, Sarah? Morning, new guy.
Oh, I get it. Worm as in... Never mind.
Good morning. Have you met Gabe yet? Yeah, he was following Damien around like a lost puppy yesterday. Hear he's getting pretty good at sports. Ooh, you'll have to show us in gym today. Depending on how good your skills are, I'm going to have to scout you for the basketball team. Not if I get him in the martial arts club first. Sarah and Ren continue fighting over which clubs I'm going to be forced to join as they take their seats. If I had to pick between basketball and martial arts, I'm going martial arts, because for one thing, I was never very good at basketball, and for two, I actually trained in martial arts, so I can relate. So yeah, that would be what I choose, if that is a choice. With my gaze still focusing towards the doorway, I notice Clover and Eva entering the room. Eva looks in my direction and shyly raises her hand in a short greeting before finding her seat. As she does this, she looks more directly at me and blushes a bit before returning her attention back to Clover. I wonder if it's because I saw her before the confessional last night. It's something to be embarrassed about. I was there for myself too, after all. While I'm thinking to myself, Clover sleepwalks her way in, but still manages to find her seat despite this. Okay. Damien walks in soon after giving me a quick yo with a signature wave and finds a seat. He looks about as tired as Clover. I wonder if his student council duties extend to the weekend or even late at night. By the time class is about to start, I'm still left awkwardly standing around near the front of the class. Fortunately, I'm saved by the teacher who opens the door soon after. What the heck? Okay, you know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. A Baphomet nun? A Baphomet nun? You know what you're doing. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. That's funny. Okay, anyway. Good morning, class.
I'll give her a British accent. A nun in her habit floats gently into the room. My eyes focus on the two circular horns affixed on the side of her headdress. I also notice there's a cloth belt wrapped around her waist to which is affixed a rosary. Her left hand is adorned with a plain silver ring on her ring finger. Obviously, she's not married, but if I had to guess, it's likely a symbol of a perpetual vow of chastity. The other students quickly wrap up their conversations and take their seats. I'm left standing awkwardly at the front of the class waiting to be assigned a seat. I take a quick note of the whiteboard where the teacher's name is written, Sister Talia. Talia? Okay.
Today we have a new transfer student from a town 3 hours over. Gabe, why don't you introduce yourself?
I should have expected to be put on the spot like this. I quickly think of some basic things to say that should suffice as an introduction. Hey y'all, my name is Gabe. I've grown up a lifelong Catholic, and although I usually like staying out of the center of attention, I'm a good ways from home, so I hope to get to know more people here. I finish hoping that's good enough. I could have mentioned casual sports, gaming, or music, but I didn't think it would be worth mentioning them. I just dabble in a lot of different hobbies, but don't excel at anything in particular. The class applauds and welcome as Sister Talia points me out to a seat near the window. Fortunately, it's right next to Damien and in front of Sarah. She gives me a wide grin and excitedly shifts up and down in her chair as I approach. I take my seat as the teacher begins the day.
I hope you're all nearly done reading a book from last week's assignment. There'll be a quiz this Friday, depending on the book you chose.
Most of the other students groan at this news.
Gabriel, since you're coming in part way through the assignment, I will delay your quiz and allow you the weekend to catch up. We are going over our books that our Protestant brethren have written, then comparing and contrasting many values we share in common. You can pick from one of these 3 titles by C.S. Lewis.
She hands me a sheet of paper with the assignment on it. The book in question are Mere Christianity, I've read that, Screwtape Letters, read that, and The Absolution of Man. I have not read that one. Okay, I would pick one of the first 2. I'll have to check one of these out in the library later today. It shouldn't be a problem. I'm a fairly quick reader. I stick the paper in a binder for safekeeping and return my attention to the front of the classroom.
Each of these books provides us with a different perspective in which to view the world under the Christian lens, using religious reasoning, philosophical reasoning, and narrative. C.S. Lewis once famously stated, "I believe in Christianity as I believe that the sun has risen, not only because I see it, but because by it I see everything else."
This is true.
What he meant by this is not simply that Christianity can explain the things that which we may not yet know in the sciences, a fallacy known as God of the gaps, but that within this one world view, all sorts of why questions can be answered, not in the casual sense, but as far as a sense of why should anything matter. It has an answer for every moral question and quandary, and when viewed as a whole, holds no rational contradiction. And when there appears to be a contradiction, it's usually due to a faulty personal interpretation. For Catholics, this isn't a problem, since we can refer to church teachings through the magisterium. Now, the magisterium was established to keep and organize the findings of the church as it has for the 2 millennia of its existence and beyond.
All this religious theology right off the bat on the first day is a lot to take in. Actually, it's pretty basic. It's pretty straightforward, I would say. I believe it all, of course, but it's unreal to see it taught in a classroom. I wonder what the world would be like if basic religion and philosophy were taught in public schools. Oh, if it was taught in public schools, things would be so much better. Just saying. Would it at least encourage more thoughtful discourse? Who really knows? I think about Arya for a moment, remembering that Father John said she isn't religious. I wonder if she cares about being taught about religious philosophy, or if she just expects it, having been enrolled in Catholic education. Sister Talia calls out a various student about what they've learned so far. Her first victim is Clover, who, with more coyness than shame, admits that she hasn't started reading yet. Sister Talia just shakes her head and sighs. Sarah whispered behind me, "Clover's a big-time gamer. She's more likely to stay up late on her computer than read, but I hear she's naturally smart, so she still has good grades. It's probably why Sister Talia isn't too hard on her." Sister Talia's next target is Eva, who I thought would act more timid in front of the class. She instead surprised me with a confident answer. Sarah speaks up again behind me, confirming my suspicions about Eva's hobbies. "If you haven't noticed already, Eva's obsessed with reading, although she has a lot more book smart than what you might call street smart." "Sarah, do you have anything to add to the discussion?" "No, Sister Talia, sorry, ma'am." Sarah zips her lips tight. I can practically feel the redness of her cheeks radiating behind me. Class continues along with no interruptions from Sarah. I suppose she learned her lesson. After class, the class pours into the hallway for lunch. I expect most of the students are heading to the cafeteria to follow them, since I don't remember exactly where it is from yesterday's tour. The menu seems typical of any other school cafeteria. A build-your-own sandwich station with a simple salad bar and a main item of the day. Today it looks like burgers or chicken fingers with a few vegetable sides. Okay. Since I don't recognize anything inside, I grab a plate, load it up, and head outside. The sun shines brightly on everyone in the courtyard. Everyone is either sitting and eating at picnic tables or standing around talking to each other under shaded trees. On one side of the courtyard, I spy Sarah and Ren at one of the picnic tables where there are several unoccupied seats. They appear to be having an animated conversation about something. I feel bad about interrupting them, but I don't see anyone else, so I know around here. Sarah seems very sociable, so I don't think it'll be a problem. I might have to be wary about Ren, however, since she seems like she wants to measure up my athletic abilities. I should take the chance to get to know them a little bit better. Hey, all right. I approach them while they're still actively chatting. It looks like Sarah chose the chicken fingers as most of her food is still on her plate. She chose the chicken fingers! Oh, that's so shameful. Meanwhile, Ren is responding with a mouthful of burger. You know what? Okay. Between burger and chicken finger, I gotta lean on the burger here. Okay. Alright. He was telling me about that gallon of milk a day and the fast way to bulk up muscle, and when he finished drinking the whole jug, he spewed it all over the sidewalk. Ren let out an uproarious laughter as she washed down her burger with her own bottle of what looked like a protein shake. Sarah chuckles at Ren's story, then notices me approaching. She waves me over and motions me onto the bench attached to the table. "Hey, Gabe, Ren was just telling me about a guy at our gym who was trying to give her, of all people, tips on how to bulk up. Ha! And he didn't even have the decency to try my routine after he embarrassed himself like that." Ren takes another chug of her shake and with a wide motion wipes away a milk stash that it leaves behind.
So we hear you're somewhat of an athlete yourself. What's your game?
An athlete I am not, but I did play a little basketball in elementary school and did taekwondo in middle school. My dad coached the basketball team, but I couldn't say I've kept up my skill set. And I only got as far as advanced blue belt in martial arts classes. I only thought to mention those two because they were relevant. I also tried swimming once, but I wouldn't want to have admit that I quit that after I lost my swim trunks during an interval dive while practically before a competition. At least only the guys' team saw that incident.
Don't be so modest. I'm sure you're pretty good at something. Yeah, you stood your ground when I decked your shoulder yesterday, didn't you?
My hand instinctively moves to my shoulder where she punched yesterday. I roll it around a bit and can feel some of the bruise she left, but I laugh it off anyways. No sweat. It only left a little mark. It wasn't dislocated or anything. Ren chuckles at my remark, eyeing my shoulder as I rotated around its socket.
Well, since you know a little about us already, what kind of things were you into at your old school?
I'm being honest when I say I didn't have a lot of focused hobbies, but I could pick one of my minor hobbies that I know these two are into and go with that. Oh, we're picking our first one. Okay. So what kind of hobby was I into at my old school? Socializing, martial arts, basketball, competitive video games. When I was in high school, I was not a good social person. I was very much an antisocial person. I did train in martial arts back then, so that could be an option. I did not do basketball. I was terrible at it. Competitive video games. I did play video games, but I never played competitive games. I played like RPG games and stuff. So, best one, I'm going to have to go martial arts on this one. Well, even though I didn't get very far, I did kind of like that taekwondo class I took back then. I dropped out of it just before high school, which I had major regrets over. The advanced blue belt rank wasn't very high, but I'm confident that I learned enough to be able to throw a dodge and good punch.
Yeah? Well, you know that and all kinds of martial arts are my jam. I can help you build up when you learn and whip it back into shape. Give it some more serious thought. You'd make a great addition to the martial arts club.
I'll give it some consideration, but I haven't made up my mind yet. We'll see. Our conversations continue along those lines until the bell rings. Ren chugs down the rest of her shake, and Sarah neatly stacks the items on her tray for disposal.
It was great catching up with you. Ren and I will go on ahead and take care of the trash. We'll see you in gym class a bit later, all right?
Thanks, and yeah, see you there. I get up and grab my things and start heading into our next class. Okay. As I'm thinking about the conversations we had during lunch, I think back to the types of casual conversations I had with my old friends. I never really became that close to many people there. I would usually just hang out with the same few groups of friends talking about the latest popular trends, show, or game that came out. I wonder if I'll ever have anything more meaningful than that, or if that's just something you have to get lucky enough to find for yourself. Am I at an advantage or disadvantage now that I have a fresh start? On one hand, I don't know anybody that well yet, so I can make myself anew if I want. Tabula rasa, ready to be molded into whatever I want or whatever new friendship calls for. On the other hand, pre-existing friend groups might not have any incentive to open the door and ruin their current group's synergy. And I wouldn't really blame them for that either, I guess. At any rate, everyone seems to be getting along whether they are a monster person or a regular human. Does the religious nature of the school have anything to do with that? I hope merely being a part of the larger faith community is good enough to open a door for anyone hoping to belong. Surely it is, right? Oh, you again. As I continue to think to myself hallway, I run into Arya, who, as I recall, wasn't outside during lunchtime. I wonder if the whole daywalker thing has anything to do with it, considering the sunlight. I considered calling out to her, but changed my mind at the last second. Why would she want to talk to an underclassman anyway? Despite my insecurity, she looks up and notices me approaching. This catches me off guard, so I make a bold move to greet her. Hey! Smooth. She continues typing away on her cell phone, seeming to ignore me when she suddenly greets me back. Hey there. Gabe, was it? Since I ran into her yesterday, I've been curious about what kind of things she was writing on her phone. She didn't deny being an author, but I get the feeling that she wasn't exactly writing a novel. Yeah, still making notes on your phone? Sure, not that it's anyone's business. Point taken, but I'm still curious. Arya looks back at her phone briefly and starts typing at it again. She never looked up in the first place. Song ideas. I was right. Lyrics. Musical notation. I play guitar, so it helps to keep notes that I don't have it when I don't have it next to me. Okay, I can see that. Punk accessories, goth-type makeup, a standoffish attitude. I don't mean to profile, but she fits the bill. That's a new one for me. Will I get to hear any of it during music class? I did sign up for that as an elective after all. Probably not. We mostly do choir songs and popular music. I was asked to play once or twice, but I think they've given up on asking me to perform during class. Fair enough. They probably don't want to force anything. I know she's not religious considering what Father John said about her, so I'll probe a bit further and see what that might be. So do you do religious songs, or, since you were in the church and all? Religion and I don't really get along. Spiritual at least, then? Depending on how you look at it, maybe. That still doesn't explain why she was in the church. I'll have to ask for more specifics another time. I don't want to push the issue too much, after all, despite my curiosity. All right, well, I won't keep you from your thoughts anymore. She resumes typing into her phone while walking beside me. Not very sociable, I guess, but at least she didn't shut me down. It's still curious to me how a daywalker of all things came to be enrolled in a Catholic high school. Well, I mean, you saw Damien. He was a daywalker. It may be biased from living outside the world, but it's my understanding that all vampires are evil due to how they become vampires. I know better than to judge a book by its cover. I'm willing to bet it's more complicated than that. Nobody with a free will can automatically be condemned as evil without the possibility of redemption. I should get around to asking Damien about that sort of thing. After all, Father John suggested that I should get to know more about monster people, since I'll be around them a lot more now. The noise of basketballs and sneakers assaults my ears as I enter the gym. Some students have organized themselves into circles for warming up and stretching, while others seem to have started right away. Sarah and Ren are a part of the former group. Other groups of students head straight towards the bleachers to socialize or read by themselves. It kind of defeats the purpose for a class dedicated to moving around, but I'm sure it's a welcome break for some. Yeah, I never understood that. I saw that a lot when I was in gym class. Like, why do kids just sit on the bleachers and not do anything? Like, come on, it's gym. Get up. Move. It comes to me surprised when Aria walks past me and takes a seat in the bleachers still on her phone. I guess they combine a lot of the different grades for electives. That means I'll have her in both music and gym class. Also in the bleachers, I spot Clover, who is deep in a conversation with Eva. Eva looks like she's totally ignoring Clover while she reads her book. What a dynamic duo. Noticeably, Damien is absent from the whole picture. I wonder if he gets an excuse from PE due to the student council duties. At my other school, we used to do whatever activity or sport the PE coach directed everyone to do, but it appears at this school has a bit of a choice. I guess it's a matter of if I'm feeling more active and competitive today or not. I can see how my skills match up to Ren, or just go to the new lazy bums in the bleachers a bit better. Before I even have a chance to choose, Ren calls out to me. Oi, new guy! You better get geared up. I'm not letting you skip out on your first day here. Guess my mind is made up for me. Alright, Ren has called me out. Let's go. In that case, it's time to get my blood pumping and stretch out these muscles. It's a good thing I've kept up with my daily morning workouts, so aren't we too out of shape for this? I head towards the group in which Sarah and Ren are stretching. Whoa, who's this? As I approach, Sarah beams a bright smile toward me. To one side of her, a short cat-type monster girl sizes me up. You know, I want to point this out. I do feel like this needs to be pointed out. Why are there no guys? Like, we only see Damien. Are there any other monster guys in the student body, or is it all girls? Like, that's something I always noticed. Hey, what's up, Jay? Glad you could make it. You missed some interesting stuff so far, bro. Hey, Gabe. Ready to show off those skills you have against Ren? I'm not quite sure if I'm ready for a true test of my skills against Ren quite yet, but I'll humor her. Yeah, you're on. Let's do this. I look over at the cat girl, wondering why she's still staring at me. Oh, by the way, this is Maya. She's a senior on the girls' basketball team. Hey, nice to meet ya. She pushes her fist forward for a fist bump. I respond by bumping fists with her. Can't wait to see what you're made of. From what Ren and Sarah tell me, you're hot stuff. I wouldn't go quite that far. We split into two roughly equal groups. Besides a few other random students, Ren is on the opposing team, and Sarah and Maya are on mine. Good, at least. I won't have to completely depend on my own average fitness versus Ren's superior athleticism. She may be a girl, but Ren is still a little taller and much more fit than me. You want to make things more interesting, new guy? How about we make a bet? If my team wins, you come and check out the martial arts club after school sometime this week. Deal? Sure, I don't see the harm in that. What do I get if I win? How about you check out the basketball team instead? We can settle this once and for all. All right, deal. Hey, wait, both deals in an obligation for me. Don't I get a say in this? But my protest went unheard. All right, guys. I know we don't usually bother counting score in gym, but I want to put Gabe here to the test. So first team to 40 wins. Everybody cool with that? Everyone nods in agreement, hyped to have a more serious game to play than usual. I expect that they're just as excited to know my potential as they are to play seriously against Ren. One of the students takes the basketball for the initial toss-up. Ren takes the center for the team, and I take the place for mine. We look seriously into each other's eyes with a competitive grin ready to act as soon as the ball's in the air. The students drop the ball low, then throws it up in the air between us. Now Ren already has me beaten height by an inch or two, but the height at which she jumps astounds me. I'm not even close to touching the ball at the point where she grabs it and tosses it back to one of the teammates. He dribbles it down the court and passes it back to Ren for a layup, scoring the first 2 points! And it's good! Looks like we're in for a tough game. Don't underestimate her. I mean, I don't expect you to, but she's one of the best for a reason. Time to put it into high gear then. I hat myself up and try to go full beast mode, focusing my attention, running my muscles, and preparing to win. Competing just takes a different state of mind. It doesn't matter what you call it. Whatever it takes for you to focus yourself on your goal. In order to channel that focus, I should put myself to the mindset of a famous basketball player. Who was it my dad was always talking about again? Oh, God, I don't know any of these. Which famous basketball player do I focus on? Drew Brees? No idea. Stephen Curry is not a basketball player. Bruce Lee? He's a martial artist. John Stockton? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I don't know any basketball players. I don't know a thing about basketball. I don't care about basketball. The only basketball player I know is Michael Jordan. He's the only one I know because I watched Space Jam, okay? I'm going Bruce Lee just because martial arts and I know the name. I channel the energy of the great basketball player Bruce Lee? That doesn't sound right. In the meantime, I get the urge to do a backflip next time I do a three-point shot, although I resist the urge, I still miss. We keep up at a decent pace for the rest of the match. Everyone's spiritual seems into it. Rin is clearly MVP of the opposing team, as I suspected, but the rest of them are certainly giving their all as well. Our team seems a bit more balanced, especially with Maya on board. Curry was the basketball player? Really? Okay, shows what I know. I steal the ball from the opposing team and speed past the rest, only to see Rin charging towards me from the front. If I can make this shot just past her, it'll give us a real advantage, not to mention a good confidence boost. I notice Maya near the basket, but she has another student guarding her closely, and I'm not very confident I can make this shot either. What options do I have left in this situation? Rin grins at me and she continues her forward sprint. I've got to make a quick choice. Do I take the shot or pass it to Maya? Oh, God. Do I take the shot or pass it to Maya? Oh, God. Okay, I'm flipping a coin. All right. Okay. Tails. Pass it to... I didn't even decide... Wait, I didn't even decide... Okay. Heads is take the shot. Tails is pass it to Maya. Heads. Okay, take the shot. Of course I go for it. Nothing is stopping me now except a nearly 6-foot-tall dragon girl with a toothy grin eager to steal my glory! What should go wrong? In a panic, I take a sloppy stance to shoot and I miss my mark as the ball goes flying towards the hoop and bounces off the rim. Meanwhile, Rin continues her forward momentum, eager to stop me from taking action. I don't know why she's thinking, but she's getting awfully close to hitting me. And then smack. Rin's body collides into mine, sending my flying backward in my rear and sliding me back further another few feet. Whoops, sorry about that. Sometimes I get a little too enthusiastic and lose my sense of depth. Rin continues over to me and offers a hand to help me back up. I graciously accept the offer. We gave it our all, but in the end didn't manage to beat Rin's team. I mean, oh no. Now I've got to go check out the martial arts club. I feel so bad about that. Somehow I think it was a better mindset we could have managed to do it. No one was dwelling on it, however. It's just a game after all. Oh, no, what are you sad about, Sarah? While I stand back with Rin's help, Sarah and Maya go over to give their 2 cents on the game. So close. We were so close. But not close enough. We really put pressure on you, huh? It was a good game for sure. I don't have any regrets about how we played, and it really pushed us all to the max. Oh, I have regrets. Why didn't I choose the basketball player? Not Bruce Lee, but Jackie Chan. Bruce Lee would have made that shot. Yeah, I think I got a lot out of that. Win or lose, it was a good game all around. I think so too, but your loss means you got to come to a martial arts club practice tomorrow. Maybe we can teach you not to freeze up when someone bigger than you is rushing towards you. Ren's self-awareness of the crashing incident makes me believe that she meant to tackle me on purpose. Really? Why? Don't take it personally. Even I'd hesitate in the face of Ren. If you practice a bit more, I'm sure you could still make the basketball team if you end up not liking the martial arts club. Maya's right. Maybe I just need to toughen up a bit. Regardless, a bet is a bet, even if I didn't really get to say in it. We'll see. I still haven't made up my mind either way. My blood is already pumping from the game, so it would be a shame to lose this momentum now. That's the spirit. I'll see you there tomorrow then. Great! She slaps her back hard, her tail slamming against the ground as her hand connects to my back, almost staggering me a bit. Okay. Sarah, Ren, and Maya walk away towards their locker room while I try and regain my balance from Ren's blow. By that time, the bell rings and the rest of us hurry to the locker room to change before we're late for our next class. After the bell rings, Sister Talia reminds me to pick out a book from the library so I can get started on that assignment. I'm greeted with the familiar sound of silence as I arrive. The sound of silence. I don't see anyone behind the main counter. Was I wrong about my assumption about someone being on staff after school? No matter, I can find my way through the library just fine. It might become a problem when I need to check out, however. Continuing my survey of the library, I hear a bunch of tapping and clicking in the other direction. I spy a familiar pair of shiny blue antennae from behind a chair. Well, look who it is. It's the little slime ball. Her attention is focused on a game she's playing. I wonder if the school knows what exactly she's using the computer for, or if they even care. Slime people are a rare sight, so I'm more than a bit curious about her and whether or not slime people are actually from outer space, like the rumor says. However, I'm too scared to ask her anything pertaining to a race. I'm still not very comfortable talking about things like that yet. Maybe I'll ask Damien later since he seems open to such discussions. Instead, I guess I'll just see what she's up to. I haven't played many games recently, so I can seek her opinion for something new. Hey! Looking back at me, Clover greets me with a short wave.
Yo.
What are you up to over there? Saving the world from the powers of darkness?
That and more.
I look over Clover's shoulder at on her monitors. The main one hosts the main game she appears to be playing, the other showing multiple smaller windows filled with flashy graphics. Some of them even appear to be playing themselves. Sarah was right this morning. Clover really is an intense gamer. This setup is pretty impressive considering you're only using the school's computers.
Yeah, I do some tweaking to get it to work, but I needed a screen for each of my monitors back home. That way I can multitask here at school until my dad comes and picks me up.
You don't just take a bus?
I'm not very fond of public transportation, but it's mostly impatience. I can get some more done if I start gaming here. Besides, my dad isn't actually home until late.
So what are you actually playing? Looks like that final 14th Nights game I've seen some trailers for?
Yeah, I'm getting ready for the new expansion that'll be coming out in December. All the pre-expansion patch events are dropping soon, so I need to corner the market on materials.
And all the other windows you have up?
Most of those are remoted in Windows to my home PC, running mobile game emulators using bots to play gacha games.
I think I understood at least half of that. You know what's sad? I actually understood all of that, and I feel ashamed of myself. Mobile games are just phone games. Emulators, I guess, simulate a phone on a computer. And gachas are those games where you use in-game currency or real money to collect characters who battle for you. Sounds complicated.
Not once everything's set up. I usually focus on one game at a time and let those bad boys go in the background farming for XP or evolution materials.
More power to you, then. Most of that is over my head, but I do game enough that I get the concepts. I'm only used to games where XP is awarded by direct fighting. It seems like an overcomplicated complication to grind XP in an item that assigns the items to a character, though I see the benefits too. It's clear that she's an MMO and gacha addict, though. From what Sarah told me before, she's lucky that she's naturally smart, or her brain would probably be mush by now. Anyways, I should go get the book for the assignment I came here for in the first place. I guess you haven't read yours yet, despite being called out this morning?
You would be correct.
Figured. Guess I'll figure out which one I want on my own. Nice talking to you. See you around.
Laters.
Clover briefly waves as she spins back to her chair towards the computers. Nothing seems to phase her concentration when she's gaming, I guess. Right, now I should grab a book for my assignment. I lose myself in thought for a bit, trying to decide which one to pick. I notice that the main counter is now occupied by Eva. Ah! We've switched over to Eva. It seems like she's already lost in a book despite not having been there before. I wonder where she was before. Considering her position now, she must help out the librarian after hours. I don't think I've ever seen her around campus without a book, so it shouldn't surprise me that she maximizes her time in the library. I'm still considering which of the 3 titles I should pick. I should ask Eva to get her opinion on things. Suddenly I hear Eva's voice from behind the counter.
Gabe! Hey, Gabe!
I turn my attention back towards her. She beckons me with her hand to come to the counter.
Have you decided what book you wanted? I actually have each of them here since I knew you'd be coming.
That must have been where she was while I was with Clover. How very thoughtful of you.
I mean, I did it for the whole class last week, too. It's not just for you. Anyways, just let me know which one you like.
She shyly turns her face as she says that, like she's something embarrassed. Odd. Aw, she's shy. Well, as a matter of fact, I haven't been able to make up my mind about which of the 3 books I should pick for the reading assignment. Which one did you happen to read? Eva hesitates for a second, looking a little embarrassed, and in a somewhat small voice replies,
I read all 3.
Okay, I didn't expect that much dedication to reading. When did you read all 3? Like, those are not small books. Eva really must spend all of her free time in books, then. Okay, then, that's even better. You should be the best person to ask for an unbiased opinion on each. Which do you think I should get the most out of?
Well, if you prefer allegorical fiction, then the Screwtape Letters is an obvious choice. It follows the conversations between higher and lesser demons through letters as they try to corrupt souls. During the story, you learn how to recognize and avoid the traps demons try to lay for us.
It sounds like it would be an entertaining way to look at the faith through storytelling. I'm interested for sure.
As for non-fiction, mere Christianity is the bread and butter of shared Christian theology. It's a lighter take on apologetics that most people should be able to grasp.
It could be beneficial to see what things all Christians, whether Catholic or Protestant, have in common. And I know I've heard this title somewhere before, so it must be popular.
Lastly, The Absolution of Man is a deeper dive into Christian theology that criticizes and warns about moral subjectivity, focusing on natural law arguments throughout.
Moral subjectivity? Natural law? Sorry, I'm not sure I understand what either of those mean.
Oh, well, natural law is a theological term that refers to why things are the way they are through observation of nature in the world, as well as a truth extracted from such observations. And as for moral subjectivity, it's a thought that whatever is true to me might not be true to someone else. The opposite of this is moral objectivity, which states that morality is unchanging regardless of the subject or person, but is dependent instead on the objective situation. This is what Lewis argues in favor for. Don't worry if it's over your head. It doesn't come easy for everyone. Then again, if you want a challenge, it'll get you thinking for sure.
Now, this one seems like it had real substance. If I want to get a deep dive into some philosophically based theology, this might be a good start. Honestly, yeah. I haven't read it, so that sounds good. I'm betting that it'll take me just as long to comprehend as to read, since the subject matter is so dense. By the time she finishes the final book explanation, Eva realizes how long and complex she's been talking and blushes a bit. Anyways, just let me know which one you like. She did give me a lot of info on each book to think about, so which one should I pick? Oh, I gotta pick. Okay, so do I pick... I've read the Screwtape Letters. Okay, so the assignment the teacher gave was to understand the differences and similarities between Protestants and Catholics in terms of belief, right? Then Mere Christianity would probably be the best one for that. The Screwtape Letters wouldn't do that very well. I mean, they do help, but they're an allegorical fiction. The Absolution of Man, I've never read The Absolution of Man. I'm going to go with Mere Christianity, because honestly, I think that one is probably more in line with the assignment. I'll go with Mere Christianity then. It's good to reinforce a solid foundation, after all.
Good choice. I think you'll like it if you're into apologetics, I mean.
Well, I am into apologetics. Oh, definitely. I mean, rather, I'm thinking of getting into it since I haven't ever really taken my faith that seriously. I've heard good things about C.S. Lewis's works on the subject.
Well, hopefully this opens a few doors for you. And if you have any apologetics or questions, feel free to ask me anytime. That is, unless you want to ask Father John or Sister Talia, since I'm sure they're more wise and experienced as spiritual guides.
No, I'm sure your advice would be fine. I'll keep you in mind if I ever ask questions. Thanks. Eva grabs a book from under the table, scans a brand new library card, scans the book, and hands both to me. Wow, thanks. Pays off to be the new kid, huh?
Don't let it go to your head. It's not like I'm treating you any different from anyone else.
Oh, no. She's a tsundere. Okay, only kidding. Thanks for the help. While she's doing all this, I take the opportunity to get to know her a bit better. So what kinds of books do you normally read, specifically, I guess? I know Clover suggested romance... Eva cuts me off, dropping the book in front of me and clearing her throat. Guess that's a dangerous road to travel for her.
Well, I like to dip my toes in many different genres, both fiction and non-fiction.
So you could say you're a well-rounded jack of all trades.
You could say that, but not a master of none. I take pride in the large varieties of books I read, not just the quantities.
Well, do you have any recommendations for me aside from my obligatory academic reading? Eva thinks to herself for a bit, eyeing me for a second, then coming to a conclusion.
Pick a genre.
Anything?
Yep, give me a genre. I'll give you a few recommendations from each.
All right, let me think. What am I in the mood for right now? Oh, God, another one. Fantasy, sci-fi, philosophy, romance. They're all good, but I'm reading a philosophy book now because of Mere Christianity. I'll go fantasy. I haven't read a good fantasy book in a while. Give me something that'll make me feel like I'm on a grand adventure. Eva thinks for a moment, takes a deep breath, and unloads with a handful of fantasy recommendations.
You can't go wrong with The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, which is from a Catholic author, no less. Then there's the Narnia series by C.S. Lewis. Don't knock books for young adults. They can still be very relevant. And then lastly, a few personal favorites of mine, the Earthsea Cycle series, which starts with A Wizard of Earthsea and the first Dragonlance trilogy. Considering how long fantasy series usually are, I don't know if I'll ever have time for all of them. Maybe I'll just pick one or two for now. Should I ask for recommendations in other genres? Oh, we get to ask for... Okay, how about... Wait, I get it. This isn't affecting my path. It's actually recommending books that are Christian. That's so creative. That's actually so creative. This game is recommending Christian book series. Why? Okay, sure, sci-fi. Hit me with it. I'm in the mood for innovation. Cool, strange thing that could be around the corner. Maybe even some space robots. Let's see if I've read any of these. Asimov is my go-to for sci-fi.
Asimov? Really?
And I go with a short story collection or two from maybe iRobot or general best of book. For modern sci-fi and even pseudo-religious philosophy, you could try Ted Chiang's A Short Story Collection. Ted Chiang!
What are you doing reading Ted Chiang? What are you doing reading Ted Chiang?
He has some very unique ideas from that often combine psychology, technology, and religion. You're in high school! What are you doing reading these? Finally, I count dystopian novels as sci-fi too. So if you haven't read 1984 is not Christian. Animal Farm or Brave New World, Animal Farm and Brave New World maybe, but Animal Farm is not. It would benefit you to do so. About half of them seem to be short story collections. Not that that's a problem. Sometimes there's a point to be made. It should be short and sweet. Sure, let's go philosophy. I want to hear what philosophy book she's reading. Have you gotten much into philosophy? I'm looking to broaden my horizons outside of just apologetics. My personal favorite is G.K. Chesterton. Pretty much all his books are witty and religious, but also highly philosophical. Try Heretics or Orthodoxy. I've read Heretics, not Orthodoxy, first, and followed with The Everlasting Man if you like his wit. For the heavy stuff, you can try Aristotle's Poetic... I've read Ethics, Poetics and Ethics, Plato's Dialogues or Republic, or check the I've read Augustine's Confessions. For more political philosophy, you can try the Federalist and Anti-Federalist Papers, the Gulag Archipelago by Solzhenitsyn, or The Rights of Man by Thomas Paine. Girl, what do you read? Okay, romance. Now we gotta ask romance. I don't have much experience with romance books, and since Clover said you were reading one the other day, as I say this, Eva gets tense and her face turns a surprisingly deeper shade of red. I'm honestly impressed, but I shouldn't stop. Actually, never mind about that. She relaxed a bit again, but she's still looking at me with a little more caution in her visage. Whoops, my bad. Should I ask for recommendations in other genre? No, we're good. That should be enough for now. Everything she recommended should last me a while, even if I should start now. As we finish the current topic, I become aware of the fact that the whole time she was listing off books, she had an air of confidence beyond her normal demeanor. You know what? I have a theory. I'm going to just lay out this theory. There are 5 girls, right? There are 5 girl options. I think each one represents one of the 7 deadly sins. We haven't seen clearly yet, but notice how she gets squeamish over romance. I think hers is lust. I'm willing to bet Rin, the dragon girl, I'll bet hers is pride because she's always bragging about how good she is. The slime girl's sloth because she's so lazy and doesn't do anything. I don't know about the others, but those seem pretty evident, so I would argue that. And then when she realized that I'm reading her face, her body tenses with her tail straight up behind her, but slowly retracts into a normal pose. I guess her passion blinded her from her usual embarrassment. She certainly doesn't seem to back down when she's with Clover, however. Maybe she's just not completely comfortable around me yet. Well, thanks for the recommendation to the assigned book. I appreciate all the help. Sure thing, and you're welcome. See you tomorrow. I retreat from the library and give her a quick wave goodbye, which she reciprocates. I still have some time to kill before dinner, so I may as well head back to the dorms and relax. Whew, reading all this is hurting my voice. I didn't want to push the romance because I don't want to make her uncomfortable. As I'm heading through the dorm hallways, I flip through my newly acquired book. I should be able to knock it out if I read about 2 or 3 chapters each night, maybe more if it gets interesting. Observing the plain emptiness of the hallway, I'm suddenly filled with an intense longing. I know it'd be different being away from home, but I'm already missing the security of being in my own house, my own room. Then I start thinking of all the people I've met so far. I wonder if it's all going to be worth it, if this is going to help me take my first steps into the real world. It really is different being here all alone, but at least I'm slowly digging a foothold into this place and making the most of it. Around the corner, run into Damien. His face is tired as ever. Ah, Gabe, yo. Hey, how's it going? Damien stretches and lets out a big yawn. Fine, just about to get ready for more homeschooling planning committee stuff. Homecoming? We had it a lot earlier at my other school this year. Yeah, go with anybody specific? Nah, I wasn't really that close romantic with anyone at that school. At least I never got a chance to. I'm reminded of Sophia, the bunny girl from my old school again. I wonder if anything could have happened between us. Certainly not at the public school. Well, there's always this school. Do you have your eye on anyone in class or outside? I haven't really thought much about it until now, but most of the people I've talked to since coming here have been girls. Cute girls at that. I've never really considered dating a monster girl either, for that matter. Again, not that I've thought of dating much in the first place. Well, it certainly isn't for lack of girls around me, but I doubt any would be interested. I wouldn't be too sure. I've seen how some of the girls in class look at you. Don't underestimate your influence as a new student. Sure, newness is awkward for the new kid, but attention is attention. And it's not like anyone's giving you any negative attention so far, right? I suppose not. Still, I think it might be a bit presumptuous for me to ask a girl to a dance this early. Well, in that case, you're in luck. It's been a tradition at this school, for whatever reason, for the girls to ask the boys to the homecoming dance. In what universe? So, the girls are the ones who do it. All right, sure. That kind of reminds me of the Sadie Hawkins dance traditions I've heard about that use the same basic premise. Well, I'll let you think about it in a couple of days, and if you find that you have anyone that you've got your eye on, I'm pretty connected. I might be able to put in a good word for you. What do you think?
Sure, I guess. There are a lot of cute girls in class, but I feel more comfortable after getting to know them a bit more first.
Okay, fair enough.
Anyways, not to change the subject or anything, but do you mind if I take you up on your offer from yesterday? I mean, asking questions about monster people?
Yeah, for sure. Ask away.
This will be a good opportunity to learn more about my fellow classmates, so I should ask as many questions as I can while I can. Okay, so I get to ask questions now. All right. Let's go with harpies first. What do you know about harpies? I've heard that they can fly with their wings. Is that true?
In some cases, yes, but it'd be a solo venture. The old stories about harpies picking up people are mostly myth as far as I know. They are, however, pretty light due to the bone densities in their arms and legs. This is what enables them to fly in the first place. Personality-wise, though, that can be a bit impulsive. Where do you think the term bird brain came from? That doesn't mean they can't be highly intelligent. On the contrary, many are. They just tend to come with attention deficit disorders by default. And yes, their claws are formidable weapons comparable to short daggers. So many keep them dulled for that reason.
Interesting. Good to know.
Besides that, the one you might be familiar with is pretty cheery, so you don't have to worry about any danger around her.
Yeah, I've noticed. Not worried about her, though. It's good inspiration to never get on her bad side. Is there anything else I'd like to ask him about? Yeah, let's go with Dragonkin next. I want to know more about Ren. How about Dragonkin? Are they all as fierce as Ren seems to be?
Honestly, I wouldn't blame you for that assumption because most Dragonkin I've met seem like they have something to prove. However, there are some kinder, more gentle ones that completely break the stereotype. Ren certainly is a shining example of fighting spirit, though. She takes advantage of Dragonskin's natural strength and pushes it past its limits. It's likely that she'll be able to qualify for men's fighting leagues as an adult at this rate. Fun unrelated fact, yes, they can bellow out smoke from their esophagus when they're riled up. It makes me wonder if there really were historical fire-breathing dragons that somehow descended from them.
Is there anything else I want to ask? All right, let's go slime. Let's go slime. I've been curious about slime girls. I don't even know what to start with questions about their physiology, much less where to start with the rumors about them being aliens.
Yeah, they can be complicated people to piece together if you pardon the pun. They're probably the most versatile monster people I've met. They can eat and absorb nutrients by putting food in really anything with calories in any part of their body. Of course, they seem to be able to control this, so there's no risk of being digested yourself if you happen to come in physical contact with one. They seem to not really like the cold very much, but they also seem to be able to control their temperature too. Inside their bodies, they have a solid core which hosts the control for their whole body. Heart, brain, nerves, and whatever magic that keeps them together. They can also take on just in about any shape, though if they aren't used to being in a shape, it can look kind of funny. You should ask Clover to show a few funny head shapes of animals. She likes showing them off for a laugh sometimes. So, what are the rumors about them being from outer space? Is Clover a real-life alien? I've heard them too, but honestly, I don't know whether they're true or not. I'd say it's unlikely if you consider the fact that the only sites online that host this type of information are obsessed with conspiracy theories. If you ever do any research on the matter and find something tangible, let me know.
All right. Next, let's go succubi. I want to know if they're actually sex demons. So it might be a bit awkward to ask about succubi, but I'll get it out of the way. What's their relation with demons and sex, if any? Yeah, it's a common conception to have about them, considering their depictions in various fantasy works and old legends. The succubi you see walking among human and monster kind are not demonic in nature, but have human natures completely. You have to keep in mind that demons, like angels, are completely spiritual by nature. So to call something with a physical body a demon just doesn't make metaphysical sense. Some attribute their appearance to the same legend of the Nephilim that is said to have caused most of our variations, but nobody truly knows the answer. As for sexual stuff, all I know is that succubi do have some unique qualities about them that can be related to that. For instance, when a succubus likes somebody or even more strongly feels love or infatuation, they might produce a very sweet scent that some might find alluring. The thing is, usually only the object of affection is said to have the ability to smell it. Besides that, they do have the unique ability to influence dreams, their own and others. I wonder if that's why Eva reads all the time. Perhaps she is lucid dreaming in each of her novel's fantasy worlds? That must be nice. Okay, now daywalkers and vampires. So I've been told that daywalkers like yourself don't like to be compared to vampires. What's the connection there? Please forgive my ignorance. No worries, man. I asked you to ask, and so I shall answer. Daywalkers are obviously separated from vampires, and they have none of the curse attributes to vampires since we aren't of a fallen nature like them. It's true that full vampires are 100% evil beings according to the Catholic Church. They are the closest thing with a physical body that you could consider a demon, since demons don't have physical form. This has to do with the state of the human soul at death. In order to become a vampire, a human must pledge their soul to the devil or another demon in an evil ritual and then die immediately after. Their reward is effective immortality at the cost of death when exposed to the sun, being repelled by true holy objects and eternal damnation after death. So without a doubt, vampires are demons inhabiting a human corpse. Shouldn't that outright prove the existence of demons and thus God?
Well, there are scientific theories as well that have to do with genetics, but the reality is only the government and the church seem to know at the moment. Like a conspiracy or something? Nothing crazy like that. In history, it was the Catholic Church who dealt with vampire cases. And in modern times, the three letter agencies deal with them because their crimes tend to occur across state lines. I don't know, that's still kind of suspicious, but he doesn't seem to be aware of any more details on that subject. Sorry for getting sidetracked, so what about daywalkers? Of course, daywalkers are the product of vampire and human relations, however rare that may be. We get similar benefits such as increased vitality, but nothing close to immortality. We're also pretty good at concealing our appearance. If we don't want to be found, it'll be hard to find us. Our only curse is that we're basically carnivores. Blood works too, but it's not necessary. We can eat and drink other things, it's just not as nourishing and even just as tasteful. Oh, and we are somewhat weakened by the sun. Some of us are fully nocturnal for that reason, though it's kind of hard to fit in that way. Oh, is that why you look so tired all the time? I figured the student council was just working you to death. Nah, it's my fault. I get more done if I stay up all night and all day. I can still function due to the increase in vitality, but I'm often tired. As if reminded by this fact, Damon let out a big yawn while waiting for my next question. All right, well, we've asked him everything, and now we have our answers. I am blown away. Jay, you've been listening in. What are your thoughts on all this? I think I'm good on questions for now, but if I have anything else, I'll ask you later. I think that was productive and fairly enlightening. Hopefully I asked all the questions I need to avoid any future misunderstandings. Either way, I can always come back to them again and ask more specific questions I have concerns about. Well, it's about time I get going. I need to scarf down some food before the meeting. Good luck out there. Yeah, thanks. You too, I guess. Damien resumes at his steady pace down the hall, waving one hand in the air behind him as a farewell. I wave back in the same manner despite him not being able to see me. I notice the futility of doing so too late. Thinking back on my conversation with Damien, I wondered to myself if I really do have any feelings for any of the girls in my class. Pretty much all of them are friendly towards me. If any of them were to have a crush on me, that'd be icing on the cake. Did I look out here with not only friends, but potential girlfriend material too? I shouldn't get too full of myself. It's better to remain humble. I'm not here to date anyone necessarily. I never really dated anyone too seriously in the past either, so it's not like I've got any real experience. At least here I won't have any racial problems to deal with. Everyone seems to get along just fine regardless of their human or monster status. It's just better for me to focus on friendships for now. If something blossoms naturally from that, that's fine by me. That's the way things should be, shouldn't they? Dating should be with a good friend who you share many common interests with, aside from the obvious physical attraction, right? Putting that aside for now, I'd better get started on the book so I can finish by next Monday. Oh, we're not going to read the book? Okay. The next day, on the way to my first class, I ponder what Damien said about the homecoming dance. I don't want to be awkward about it, but I'm curious what the girls in my class think about it. Fortunately, I don't have to wait long before I overhear a few of the girls huddled around each other discussing just that. So, Sarah, have you got your eye on anyone this year for the homecoming dance? Me? I might have an idea of someone, but I still haven't decided. I'm pretty busy with the homecoming committee itself, after all, and I'd be too busy with that to ask someone. What about you, Clover? I'm not big into school spirit things, much less anything that extroverted. That's a hard pass for me. And you, Eva? Well, if someone were to ask me, it would depend on their personality and stuff, I guess. Oh, that's not how it works. Yeah, you're going to have to ask whoever you want to take you with you on a DATE if you want to go. Eva pushes Clover with her book in retaliation over the teasing. Stop it! I know. There's just not anyone who's sparked my interest yet. Maybe. Not that there's anybody like that around here. Heh, not even the new guy, Gabe. She purposely says my name a bit louder than the rest and looks over my direction with a smirk on her face and trouble in her eyes. This slime is evil! Eva responds with a blushing scowl. Clover, that's enough. Leave poor Eva alone. Oh, they're glaring murder. I'm gonna take her out. Okay, fine. Just then Rin walks in and greets the group. Yo, what's everyone talking about all huddled up? Oh, just who you're interested in taking to homecoming next Friday. Do you have anyone you're asking? Not really, though I wouldn't mind going with friends just to party. Besides, it's okay to let loose every once in a while. Definitely. I can't wait to make this an event everyone remembers. Oh, and our goat lady is back. As the conversation concludes, Sister Talia walks in and has everyone take their seats. Good morning, class. As you're all aware, the homecoming dance theme was decided last night as a Monster Mash theme. Monster Mash for the homecoming dance? I wonder why they chose that. Since it's so close to Halloween, it was decided that instead of something formal, everyone will come in costume instead. Now, I'm sure you're all excited, but don't let it get in the way of your studies. All right, let's get started. Everyone open your books to page.
And so class continued as usual until lunchtime. No! I want to know what we studied! I want to have my faith vitalized by the goat lady! After grabbing my food from the cafeteria, I journey outside again. The courtyard is busy as ever. Today, however, I do not see Sarah and Ren in the same place as before. I continue scanning the groups of students until I notice Clover and Eva sitting together in the shade of a giant oak tree. Eva's reading a book with one hand and eating while Clover chats animatedly beside her. The way they can multitask like that astounds me. I might not know much about them yet, but it would probably be beneficial to reach out to people on my own for once. I make a resolute decision to casually tread in their direction, dodging through the few people passing by. I try to catch a glance of the title of the book Eva's reading, but it's just as the wrong angle for me to see. As I approach, Clover looks up to me with her tired gaze. Hey, mind if I sit here? Clover continues her stare in my direction, analyzing me for a moment before giving me a dopey grin and answering.
We don't mind at all. What's up, new guy?
Thanks, and not much. Still getting my bearings and figured I'd stick with faces I know and then, I guess to get to know them better?
What, our faces?
No, I mean to get to know you guys a bit more since we haven't really interacted much. Great, off to an awkward start. Self-introductions aren't really my strong point, but that's okay. The hard part's over, now to build from there. So how do you two know each other?
Well, I go to the computer lab after school, as you know from yesterday, and since that's part of the library, Eva and I end up running into each other most days.
Your dad picks you up, right?
Yeah, like I said yesterday, he works late most days, and I'm too impatient for the bus. Unless I need more computer power. For the bigger games, of course.
Of course. And your mom doesn't pick you up because...
She's deceased.
Oh, my bad. I just assumed she also worked later. Guess I should be more sensitive to subtleties in speech.
Don't worry about it. She passed away when I was too young to remember her. My dad talks about her often, though. Says I remind him of her in some ways.
Well, that's good, I suppose.
Yeah, apparently she was a scientist.
I guess like mother, like daughter, since Clover seems to know her way around a computer, and then some. More than me, for sure. While Clover and I are talking, I notice Eva peeking her eyes out from her book as if she's interested in the conversation, but doesn't want to be obvious about it. I take this opportunity to include her, despite the fact that she's busy reading. So what book are you reading now, Eva? Eva jumps a little, surprised that she was called out while still peeking over her book. She tries playing it off like she was still engrossed in the book.
Who? Me? Nothing particularly interesting. Right now I'm catching up on a romance. That's your favorite, right?
Eva blushes at this and gets flustered.
A fantasy series. I was saying that I'm catching up on a fantasy series. I mean, it has romance in it, but it's not a romance. Same thing, right? Most fantasy games I play don't have romance in them, so I wouldn't call them romance, but yours does. Oh yeah? What about your visual novel thing? What do those count as? Hey, those can be sci-fi and fantasy too, you know.
These two seem amusing together. I like how they're bringing up visual novel series in a visual novel game. Like, the meta is there. They're definitely close since they're used to teasing each other, but only Eva seems to get flustered over it. My intuition about Clover being a troublemaker was right on the money.
How about you? What kind of things are you into? Are you a gamer, a reader, an athlete?
Oh, you know, a little bit of everything, really, but I had to pick a hobby I was especially into. It would be... Oh, we gotta do this again? There's no point in starting off a friendship under false pretenses. So, what do I care more? What kind of hobby might I have in common with my new friends? Gaming, reading, self-improvement, anime. Oh, God. I love all four of those. I love all four of them. I love reading. I love gaming. I love anime. I'm good at self-improvement sometimes. I'll leave self-improvement out. I'm going to go with the other three. Okay, so... Gosh, what do I pick? I do game a lot. That's true. Oh, God. This is rough. Raven, choose one besides anime. Okay. What do I pick? Reading, gaming, anime. God, I don't know. I do not know. If only writing was an option. Yeah, if it was writing, it'd be easy. Here, let's do a new poll. I think this poll is is dead. So let's end this poll and do a new one. Let's do a new poll. Okay, which one should I pick? This is not easy. While y'all pick, I need to get some water because my voice is starting to hurt. All right. Get my giant canister. Ugh. Thing's heavy. All right. All right, back to it. Okay. Oh, Jay makes a good point. I've been reading this whole stream, and I am a writer. That is true. That is true. Reading is probably more up my alley, because I'm not good at games. I'm really not good at games, so... Raven Knight, the dev wife is here? Say hi? The dev... Who's the dev wife? Like, dev of what? Wait, the wife of the person who made the game? Like, hold on, explain that to me, Mac. Like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? Yomik is the dev of this game? Wait, Yomik is the dev? Is Yomik here right now? Is Yomik with us? Is Yomik in the room currently? I'm going to go ahead and end the poll. Reading is the bottom of the poll? Atrocious is the dev's wife. Okay. Artius, are you the dev of this game? Are you actually the dev of this game? No joke? Really? Yomik is out with Sun for confirmation classes. Oh, okay, cool. Well, I will be perfectly honest. I am very much enjoying this. This is very cool. So for since I don't know if you came in at the time I started this, but I'm a Christian. My faith is very important to me, and when I saw this game, I thought it was funny. I didn't know what to expect, so I thought I'd play it and see, and honestly, this is very entertaining, and I haven't seen anything I dislike, so honestly, this is really cool. So, we'll probably go for a little bit longer, and then we'll take a break, because my voice is really starting to hurt reading all this. Okay, so the winner of the poll was... gaming. Okay, so we might need to go with gaming on this one, guys. Oh, man. It's so hard, but yeah, okay. We'll go with gaming because that is what y'all voted for. Well, Artisius. Is that how you pronounce it? Artisius? All right, so we'll go gaming. Let's see what that goes. Recently I got a new laptop for school. I made sure to get one that can handle most modern games coming out. Oh yeah? What kinds of games do you play? A handful of the popular ones, but also some indie hits. You know, like RuneScape and Counterattack, but also things like Cave Tale and Understory. Ugh! Now I wish I'd picked reading. I don't like any of those. Your palette of games seems very well-rounded. I'm impressed. Do you play Final 14th Nights? You seem to know what it was yesterday. I've never really played anything with a subscription before, but maybe you could talk me into it sometime. Yeah, sure thing. Come by the library again and I'll show you my characters and stuff. Our conversations continue along these lines for a while until the bell rings, signaling that we should wrap things up and make it to our next class. I should have picked reading. I regret that I did not do what Jay said. See you around, Gabe. Yeah, see you. Eve also gives me a quick wave by, and I return to Jester with a similar quick wave and a smile. I pick up my stuff and start heading back to the building for our next class. Every other day, we switch between different types of extracurricular classes. I was given a choice between a few different electives. Since I was a late transfer, physical education was a mandatory default for one of them. For remaining choice, it became a toss between music and art for me. And since I don't have any artistic bone in my body, I figured that I would try music. Well, there's truth in that. At least if I'm not very good at it, I could try to blend in or even lip sync in the back so I don't stand out. I've never been to school that has anything other than band classes and electives, so this will be an interesting experience. As I look around, I find a room of people I don't recognize and even more interesting people of various grades. Since the students are distributed between the various elective, I guess they have to mix different grades of students for this sort of thing. I do spy a familiar face around the crowd, however. Aria is standing around in a corner on her phone, as usual, waiting for class to start. I approach her casually as I wait to the other students. Hey!
Hey.
I guess they mix grades for a lot of the electives, huh?
Yeah, I suppose so.
So you play guitar, right? Are you in a band or something?
Maybe. Depends on who's asking.
Who knows? It could be I could be a popular music producer out scouting a new talent, or just a student trying to get to know his fellow classmates.
Well, I'd probably say screw off to the first one, so I guess it's better that you're likely to be the latter.
Probably more boring than the former, but yep, you got me. Aria eyes me up and down as if analyzing me for the first time. When her eyes return to my face, she smirks slyly to herself as I feel as if I passed some unknown test.
Yeah, I'm in a band, but we haven't been able to play as much since most of them graduated high school last year.
Ah, cool. So they're a bit older? Are you guys planning to go full-time after you escape high school?
That's the dream, but we're obviously not there yet, seeing I'm still stuck here, and they're working at local stores downtown.
Yeah, such is the fate of local bands, sometimes I mean. I hope you guys make it after all, I just know it's usually a steep road up.
Uh-huh.
Well, that wasn't the best way I could have handled that conversation. I don't know why she makes me nervous like that. She doesn't really intimidate me or anything, I think. It must be because she's a senior while I'm just a junior.
So, what kind of stuff are you into?
Stuff? Like music? Ari keeps looking at me waiting for an answer. I guess rock is kind of my thing, but I only really have a few favorite bands.
Have you ever tried checking out local bands and supporting them?
I guess so. I stopped by a battle of the bands in middle school. Okay, technically I was eating outside at a restaurant when my family and the festival happened to be playing across the street. Does that count?
Do you happen to remember any of the names of the bands that were playing that day?
Maybe, I think so. If I think about it, I might remember. Can I remember the name of any of the bands playing? Are you kidding? Oh my gosh. What's the name that I remember from the local battle of the bands? Okay. Revolting Ninja Pirates. Extravagant Extortion. Untie Tie Band. Unity Tie Band. I don't know any. Are these real bands? They can't be. They've got to be made up bands. I don't know any of these, so I guess I should say I honestly don't remember. Like, because just being honest, it's being honest. I honestly don't remember. Let me see. Don't mess it up. Oh, I could mess it up. No, don't want to mess it up. Revolting Ninja Pirates is out. I don't believe that is a band name. Extravagant Extortion and Unity Tie Band. I would guess Extravagant Extortion. Extravagant Extortion sounds right. That actually sounds like it would be a band name. So I'm going to go with Extravagant Extortion. Well, the name Extravagant Extortion jumped out at me. They were pretty in your face.
Yeah, I don't think that band counts as indie, and it's definitely not a local band. Are you sure you know what you're talking about?
Shoot, that must just be a popular metal band I've heard about. I thought for sure that was one of them. Guess I can't fool her. Honestly, I don't really remember much. Truth be told, I was across the street at a local restaurant with my family when we happened upon it. I want to learn more about local bands, however. There's always room on my playlist for some new interesting music.
All right, I'll give you some recommendations later then. Fanged Freaks played there that year, by the way. The bass player for that team is in our band now. She was only with them during their freshman year, but the crazy story she told me about them.
I guess I should have told the truth in the beginning. Gah! If only I had been honest! Duh! I'm playing a Christian game and I lied! I have sinned. Forgive me, Father. It seems that she doesn't mind my ignorance after all if I'm willing to be open with her. Oh, by the way, speaking of bands, you'll have to let me listen to some of your stuff sometime.
Yeah, maybe sometime.
Just then the music teacher makes his entrance into the room. Ari and I take our spots near the rest of the students. The music teacher directs us to various vocal exercises to get us started. I do my best to mimic what everyone else is doing. After the warm-up, that sounded like a gun cocking. After the warm-up, the music teacher hands out a few pages of sheet music for us to sing. Fortunately, I know this one since it's a pretty common hymn that we sing at my church back home. I feel pretty confident about singing along, even though this version is split up into 4 parts. But what song is it? Do I know it? I can sing Vini Vini Emmanuel. I can sing that in Latin. There's something weird that happens while I'm singing in harmony with others. It's hard to explain, but it's like my soul is warm and comes out of my chest to join with others for the duration of the song. I don't think I'll regret my decision to join this music class. Meanwhile, as I'm singing along with the others, my ears pick up a lot of the other students' voices. Aria's in particular is quite striking. She, like me, appears to be trying to blend in with the crowd, but I can tell that her voice is something different. It rings out crystal clear and perfect pitch with a little pinch of something unique to it that I can't quite put my finger on. Not that I've heard her play guitar yet, but she sounds like she's quite suited for being a vocalist, at least. If she does sing with them, I wonder if she uses a different vocal style for her band. I can't imagine a voice like her singing screamo or anything that hardcore. Yeah, I don't get a screamo vibe from her. And honestly, if it was screamo, I'd have trouble getting into it. I'm not a screamo fan. Maybe I could have something to do with the inherent qualities of being a daywalker. After class, as the choir members are dispersing, I approach Aria again, intending to compliment her vocal skills, but she slips away before I can get to her. For now, I just move on with my day and go on to my next class. And just like that, the rest of the day goes by in the blink of an eye. When the final bell rings at the end of the day, I'm reminded of a bet that was sort of made on my behalf yesterday during gym class. It has something to do with the contest we had. Sarah and Ren are really competitive, it seems. And since our team lost, I think Ren said I have to check out the martial arts club after school today. Perfect! I love martial arts. Let's go. Either way, it's not like I'm obligated to go either, though I'd feel bad if I got her hopes up. No, let's go! If I don't feel like I'm up to joining a physical activity, I'm sure they wouldn't take it personally. However, I could be missing out on an opportunity to get to know them better. Now, dude, I made a commitment. Let's go to the martial arts thing. What should I do this afternoon? Martial arts. Let's go. Okay, I'll check out the martial arts club. There you go. It's probably the most unique sport that I'm ever remotely interested in. On top of that, I'd like to see how Ren performs against the other participants. She probably destroys them if what I've seen so far is anything accurate. I saw her the other day warming up with her clubmates, but I never actually got to see her fight. I'm pretty hyped to see how she performs, honestly. What martial art does she train in? Because she keeps calling it the martial arts club, but what does she actually train in? I want to see this. I arrive at the field and track area like Ren specified earlier. I wonder if they ever have gym space too, or if they just prefer training outdoors. All the martial art clubs are in a designated tearaway fighting arena, completely with coated foam padded on the ground. Right now it appears that they're in the middle of sparring practice. Groups of two are fighting it out in each section with a few people outside of the rings waiting their turn. Okay? Among the groups of fighters, I see Ren sparring with a tall guy who seems to be holding his own against her. All right. Okay, she's doing a kick. The posture's good. She needs to lean her, she needs to lean her torso back just a little, but otherwise, that's a good posture. I approach the arena and take a seat in the nearby bleachers to watch. Ren takes a kickboxing stance, one foot in front of the other, which is far back behind her, keeping her balance. Her fists are up in front of her, enabling her to block every blow that comes her way. Out of the blue, she lifts her leg up high above her shoulders and kicks her opponent in the side of the head. What an impressive kick. I wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of that. No, you wouldn't. Her opponent stumbles back but recovers quickly. He comes back to face her, his fists alone in front of his face, ready to swing. He jabs forward at her, getting a few good blows into her side before going in for a grapple. It looks like he gains the upper hand until Ren gets the better of his balance and flips him over her shoulder straight onto the ground. After a while, it's Ren's turn to take a break. Not long after, she notices me in the bleachers and calls out to me. Yo! I wave back as she heads towards me, sweat pouring over her face and neck. Yo, working hard, I see. Every day, so you decided to come after all. Well, I did lose the bet that I was forced into, after all. Besides, martial arts seems pretty cool. I figured that I would check it out. Good to hear. So are you ready to try out, or... I just came to watch today, just to see what kind of stuff you guys do. Okay, but don't hesitate too long. I don't want to see you atrophy before you make up your mind. I don't think it'll take me that long to decide. Besides, I think I'm already feeling a burn from watching you guys sweat out there. If you say so. So what do you typically do to keep yourself in shape? You don't appear to be the type that veggies out in front of a TV or computer, but you don't seem to have much muscle either. I don't know if I should take that as a compliment or an insult. She's calling you average, bro. I think she means well by it, however. I mean, I have a basic morning workout routine, push-ups, sit-ups, and squats, and plenty of juice. Nothing too intense, although I could improve my diet a bit, I guess. I can help with that if you truly care to improve yourself. What kind of things do you typically eat on a day-to-day basis? Well, my diet isn't anything I'm necessarily proud of, but it is something I can improve on. Oh, I get to pick? Okay, what does my day-to-day consist of? Lots of meat, breakfast bars, energy drinks, fruits, and veggies. All right, I need to be honest here. What do I eat regularly? I don't drink that many energy drinks. I don't think I've had a breakfast bar in months. I do eat plenty of fruits and veggies, but I do eat lots of meat. I like meat. I'm a meat guy. I like my meat, okay? I like steak. I like chicken. I'm a meat guy, so I'm going to go with lots of meat on this one. Well, I may not eat the healthiest, but I do eat lots of meat. I tend to get in as much protein as possible with each meal. Chicken, beef, eggs, you name it.
A man after my own heart. You still need to watch out, though. Some meats can be too greasy, especially if it's fried. I don't want to hear this from you after we saw you at lunch eating a burger. Don't think I didn't catch that. Plus, too much red meat is apparently not great for your heart. But I'm not a doctor, so what do I know? Again, you ate a burger. It's not going to stop me from enjoying it. There we go. Okay, she might be my favorite. She might be my favorite. Besides, she seems fit enough to know what she's doing for herself, at least. I'm not against constructive criticism, I suppose. If I do join, I'll probably need a lot of work on my diet and workout routine before I can spar with someone like you. Ren laughs at this. Does she find it amusing that I think I have a chance, or is she just happy that I'm willing to work on myself? We've all got areas to improve on. Don't take it personally. I just make it my business to help anyone on the team improve. I want what's best for everyone here. That's what teamwork is for.
Oh, we're having a My Little Pony moment.
Elevating each other to our highest potential.
Gotta say, she's really selling this for me. Camaraderie seems to be a lacking among people in general today. What better way to improve than by lifting up your fellow man, or girl in her case?
It's about to be my time to spar again, but do you have any questions for me about the martial arts club before I head back?
Nothing in particular, but if I come up with anything, I'll let you know.
Sounds good. Well, keep up the workouts and maybe push a bit further every day.
I'll keep that in mind. Ren jogs back to her sparring circle and tags a new person in with her. I watched for a bit, amazed at her form. She never seems to lose a fight. I wonder if there's any real competition for her here, or if she's just a rival in another school or somewhere. After some time, I wake up my mind to head back to the dorms and catch up on my reading assignment. I arrive back in my room prepared to continue my assignment book. Thoughts of the day distract me, however. Thinking back on music class, I feel that I did come out today with a bit more appreciation for music and the performing arts. As much as I enjoyed music class, I could also see myself reading the semester away. I wonder if having a reading partner in the library would make it more enjoyable. Eva did have some great suggestions, after all. Maybe I'll have similar feelings with martial arts. Who knows? If Ren has anything to say about it, it's likely to be a full-time commitment. Am I ready for that level of intensity? Regardless of what I end up doing and who I end up hanging out with this year, I feel that I should take every chance to get to become closer to people. I only have 2 years left of high school, after all. With my thoughts on a school life now settled, I picked up my book and start reading again where I left off. Oh, we're actually reading from the book. Okay. The Christian says, creatures are not born with desires unless satisfaction for those desires exists. A baby feels hunger. Well, there is such a thing as food. A duckling wants to swim. Well, there is such a thing as water. Men feel sexual desire. Well, there is such a thing as sex. If I find in myself a desire which no experience in this world can satisfy, the most probable explanation is that I was made for another world. If none of my earthly pleasures satisfy it, what does not prove that the universe is a fraud? Probably earthly pleasures were never meant to satisfy it, but only to arouse it, to suggest the real thing. If that is so, I must take care, on the one hand, never to despise or be unthankful for these earthly blessings, and on the other, never to mistake them for something else of which they are only a kind of copy or echo or mirage. A very thoughtful passage. Yes, it is! Yes, it is. You're going out? Okay, Artisius, thank you for joining us. Big thanks for having you here. You take care and tell your husband that this is a really good game so far. I will probably keep playing this. I will probably keep doing this. This is very fun. And yes, guys, that was a very thoughtful passage. But I mean, honestly, that is a quote from the book, and yeah. I mean, take it. What it's basically saying, if you couldn't follow, the idea is that C.S. Lewis is arguing that we have desires for a reason. The desires we have come from something we can get. So if you're hungry, that's because you need food. Food exists. Oh, you're still lurking but pretending you're not? Oh, well, thank you for lurking. But basically the idea is all of our desires come from something. So if we're hungry, food exists to fill that hunger. If we want sex, sex exists to fulfill that desire. But we as humans have a desire for more than this. These earthly things don't satisfy our craving for something greater. So what does that mean if we have a craving for something that the earth can't satisfy? Does it mean that the things on earth aren't relevant? No, they are. We should be thankful for them, but we need to rationalize and understand that there is something beyond earth, beyond this earthly plane that needs to satisfy us. And that is where the Lord comes in. That's where heaven comes in. It is evidence of the fact that we are not from this world. We are merely existing within it. We have a craving for more than what this world can provide. We have a craving for something far higher on the echelon. And so that's essentially what the passage is saying. So, yeah, that is straight from the book. I remember reading that. Great stuff. Okay. So let's keep going. Taking the rest of the book and basic Christian doctrine in context, it seems to be saying that we should enjoy, or at least appreciate what we have here while we can. I was literally just explaining, and now it's good. I guess the game is designed to help break this stuff down. Okay, fair. All right. But we should also not mistake these things as final rewards in and of themselves. We are both half body and half spirit after all. Sometimes we can get caught up in many things that give us loads of temporary pleasure only to place them on a pedestal and worship them as idols. And it's not so obvious that when we cross that line most of the time. We all have a hierarchy of values that we keep. And am I keeping the most important things on top? Is there one thing up there that ought to be lower? Oh, good point. Okay, so I'll actually mention this. My father said this to me when I was a kid. He said this, and I use it all the time. You can tell a lot about what a person cares about by what they prioritize. You can tell what a person cares about by what they prioritize. If you care about your relationship with God, then you're going to put your prayer life and your church life and your faith on top of things. If you care about your wife or your husband or whoever, you're going to put them on top of things. But if you don't give them your time or energy, it means that you don't care about them enough to prioritize them. And that's exactly what he just said. Am I putting the most important things in their correct order? So, I like this. I like this. Okay, cool. Anything that may be getting in the way of keeping my relationships intact or keeping them from forging new ones. Are there any that I'm putting even before God, including my relationship with people or my hobbies? Well, I mean, the game hasn't given us the option to do more godly things yet, but I'm sure that'll come up. I'll have to keep these things in mind while I enjoy life so I don't end up getting lost in my love for that which is temporary. I continue to absorb the wisdom contained in my book until it's time for me to retire for the night. I wonder myself how I can apply everything I've learned to bring about a better world, both generally and for the goals I have in mind for myself. And what are my goals right now? What should I be focusing on to obtain the best outcome for all the things I want? I switch off my light and try to sleep despite all the things racing in my mind. Thought-provoking stuff. We're back in church. This is gorgeous. Today is a bit different since first period is replaced by Mass on Wednesday. I arrive a few minutes early along the steady stream of other students who are slowly trickling in. I look around to see if there's anyone I know. I imagine that since it's a fairly diverse campus, not all the people I know will be here. Towards the front pews, I see the dark hair and the little red horns of Eva poking out from amidst the crowd of students. It's not very common to see the front pews of a Catholic church filled, a detail many priests like to half joke about once in a while during their homilies. It must be something about Catholics feeling they have a more private spiritual relationship with God. Wait, hold on. It must be something about Catholics feeling that they have a more private spiritual relationship with God. No offense to Catholics, but is it really a private spiritual relationship with God when you go to a priest to tell them your darkest secrets? Just saying. Like that. That always stood in contradiction to me. If you're going to a priest to confess your sins, that's not a private spiritual relationship. That is one shared with another person. And again, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm not saying it's bad to confess or to talk about these things. But it's not private. Okay. Moving on. This contrasts many other Christian denominations who may feel more publicly outward connection. Okay, what do you mean by publicly outward connection? If I had to guess, a balance between the two is probably everyone's best interest, but to each his own. Okay, so your relationship with God is something that should be personal. Jesus said it should be personal. He said, do not pray in public as the Pharisees do, but pray in private, because it's not about drawing attention to yourself. But at the same time, your relationship should be one that people recognize. People should be able to see you and recognize that you're a new creation. So there is a balance. I agree. There is a balance. So yes, don't just pray out in the open and go, Lord Jesus, come down. No, you don't do that because no one wants to see that and it's going to give the wrong impression. But you also live your life in a manner that shows your faith. So again, moving on. Not far from here, I see the back of Damien's head facing forward. He's currently kneeling in prayer, so I don't think I'll go and interrupt. It would surprise me to see Clover or Ari here, so I'll look to see if Sarah or Ren have made it, assuming they're coming. Coincidentally, soon after I think this, I hear a familiar voice behind me. Good morning, Gabe. Yeah, morning. The difference in the dynamic between the two is obvious. Ren usually appears to get a slower start in the mornings, but is ready to go, while Sarah's clearly always at her best regardless of the time of day. Good morning. I know that sort of thing is optional during the week, but does that mean you're a Catholic too? Well, not really. My family is Southern Baptist. Booyah! It's my girl! Southern Baptist! Let's go. You and me. Both Southern Baptists. Let's go! Southern Baptist Convention. Let's rock it. Let's rock it. But Mass is close enough to a worship service for me. Yeah, I've been to Mass. I've been to a Mass. It's all good. We have plenty of other denominations in the server, and most of them have enjoyed it and enjoyed having representations in the game. Oh, no, I'm not here to criticize anything. I'm just looking at different aspects of this. Like I said, I'm a Christian. I was raised Southern Baptist, but I respect all denominations. As I've said to many people, I could care less about your denomination. If your relationship with the Lord, if you have a relationship with the Lord Jesus Christ, and you've accepted Him as your Lord and Savior, I could care less about what denomination you acknowledge. I don't care if you're Catholic, Southern Baptist, Presbyterian, Episcopalian, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is your relationship with God. That's always what I care about. So if you have a good relationship with God, you're my brother or sister in Christ. If you don't have that relationship, you got some working to do. Denomination to me is just a side aspect. But anyway, yes, Southern Baptist, let's go. What about you, Ren? I still go to a local Baptist church nearby some Sundays. You should come sometime. I might. I don't know if that'd be the best for me since I'm Catholic, but I have no reason to refuse if Sarah asks again in the future. I might just do that. I'll have to think on it a bit harder if she gives me a more serious offer later. I'm not really anything, but whatever will give me some meditation time before I get to work is good by me. Ren, we gotta work on you, baby girl. Another streamer did a solid Sarah Dodge. They were like, used to be Southern Baptist, and they went, nope. Come on, I'm Southern Baptist. What? Come on. There's nothing wrong with the Southern Baptists. My problem here is Ren. Ren, you got to get you in the spiritual mojo, okay? We'll work on you. You are in need of work. We will get there. Not quite an orthodox opinion, but I'm glad Ren is here nonetheless. Yeah, at least she's here. You know, she's here. It surprised me to learn that just like my other new friends, everyone has such a wide variety of beliefs despite what the school implies. Yeah, that's something that you'll actually notice. I went to visit a Catholic school once. I wasn't there to attend. I was there to visit to just kind of see how they ran things. And it surprised me that there were so many students who weren't all that religious. Like, they were there because it was a private school and their parents kind of wanted them to go there, or they were there because they come from a Christian family or something along those lines. But I met a lot of people who just basically said, yeah, we're not that religious. So it's one of those things. And I attended a Christian university. I attended Anderson University as my first school. And they also had a worship service on Sunday as well. Not Sunday, Wednesday, I'm sorry. They had a worship service on Wednesday right before lunch. It was really cool. And there were a lot of people there who weren't Christian. So kind of crazy, really. But it's crazy the amount of distinction you'll have. Not everyone at a Christian school is going to be Christian. Or at least they're not going to have all the same identities. So it's pretty neat. Regardless, I'm also glad that they are here so I won't have to awkwardly find a pew to sit in alone. We respectfully tread down the aisle together and we find a spot where we can all three fit. I pull down the kneeler and lay a few quick prayers to start the day. After a short while, the music director greets everyone and announces a song for the opening procession. Most people open their hymnals to the specified song. We all rise while Father John and the altar servers revert to the procession to their places. Hey, whoa, Father John, hold on. Good morning, students and visitors. Everyone replies in unison with good morning, Father. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. The Lord be with you all. I reply along with the rest of the congregation, and with your spirit. My brothers and sisters, let us acknowledge our sins, and so prepare ourselves to celebrate the sacred mysteries in the Mass. Early in the Mass, we prepare ourselves with a prayer that asks for the forgiveness of sins, which readies us to listen to the Word of God. Some may say that the Mass is overly ritualistic, but I like it just fine. Well, that is my biggest criticism, but look, to each their own. Something I learned during my religious instruction. Pretty much every part of the Mass itself either directly quotes sacred scripture or is derived from it, all to prepare us to increase our holiness throughout the Mass. Fair. As Mass continues, I notice Sarah fidgeting beside me. Maybe the pews aren't very comfortable for harpy physiology. Ren seems to be doing fine, though, despite having a bigger tail which is wrapped around her and settled in her lap. After Father John does the gospel reading, I make sure to try and focus on the homily. In this day and age, it seems like most young folks are drifting away from God. Oh, that's the truth. Now, I don't want to be accusatory, but the data on this doesn't lie, and you're not the ones to blame, mostly. For every new Christian that enters the church, about 10 walk out the door. Why is that? I, for one, believe it's due to a lack of not just faith, but also action. In the letter of James, chapter 2, verses 14 to 26, the author describes to us what happens when we claim to have faith, but that faith is empty as shown by a lack of works.
So what is a church without the faithful actively working? It's dead, I tell you. And we can clearly see that by numbers and even the individuals that we encounter on a daily basis. For just as a body without a spirit is dead, so also faith without works is dead. So how can we revive this faith in ourselves, in our peers, and in our loved ones? Fortunately, it doesn't have to be as boring as you may first think. It doesn't have to feel burdensome to get up and help out. By simply being a loving friend or family member, you can utilize that special thing you're good at to evangelize to those who might not see the light of Christ everywhere. You can participate in programs that promote justice and dignity to those who aren't often afforded it. Feeding the hungry is pretty popular, but what about the imprisoned? Despite what acts prisoners may have committed, they may as well be forgotten by society, and nothing turns around the recidivism rate like a true conversation of heart through faith. It won't undo what they have done, but it may prevent them from coming back to prison. It may even bring forth a new great evangelist. Look no further than St. Paul himself, former persecutor of Christians. Then there's beauty. Artists, musicians, actors, you can all create and perform for others to witness to the gospel. There's so much beauty in the church already, but how much better for it to be shown through the work of mankind itself? And finally, it's time for church leaders to stop dumbing down the faith. Okay, time out. Okay, thank you so much for saying that. Backstory time. Back when I was still, like a teacher, when I was training to be a teacher, I was told all the time not to use the term dumbing down because it sounds offensive, it sounds oppressive, it sounds like it's dumbing down, like it's making something lesser. But I have always been of the opinion that you have to use this terminology because dumbing down really does mean simplifying to a stupid level. And I feel like a lot of church leaders today do this. I feel like this is a major problem in churches where we have church leaders who really do dumb down the faith. There are people who like to I call them the feel-good ministers. They're the ones who really just say, oh, the church is all about feeling good, man. It's all about them good, positive vibes, And I don't call these people Christians. I call them churchians because they care far more about the community of a church and the feel-good feelings of a church rather than the actual message of a church. So thank you, God. This I needed. Yes, and Jay hits it again, Ephesians 2. Yes, says we are saved by grace for good works that God places beforehand for us to walk in. So, yeah, this is pretty crazy. This is pretty crazy. I'm actually loving this. I'm actually loving this right now. And I know, Jay, you're probably going to have some words with me later about all this. All right, so here we go. All right, back to what we were saying. Nothing turns someone away from the faith faster than giving them a non-answer to an earnest question. There's no excuse to give someone asking a hard question about the faith an overly simplistic answer like, that's just the way God made it, including a personal ignorance. That being said, I invite each and every one of you to strengthen your faith by questioning the difficult things that you haven't found answers to. And if you can't find the answers on your own, come see me or another trusted spiritual director. In closing, whether believers or not, Catholic or non-Catholic, human person or monster person, we are all made in God's image. We are all born with that divine spark which guarantees that we ought to be treated with equal dignity. And through that same divine spark, we are all equally called to serve Him, either directly or by serving others to increase our faith and love for God, others, and ourselves. Amen. The congregation replied with a solid amen. Can I get an amen? Oh, hallelujah. Sorry, had to do it. Ah, man. That was good. That was good. The shortest Mass I've ever been to, but good. The rest of the Mass goes on as usual. I receive the Eucharist to do as do many of the other students. A surprising number appear not to do so. I'm guessing most are non-Catholic students and visitors. Yeah, when I went to Mass, I didn't take the Eucharist either. I do notice, however, that Eva doesn't partake, which is odd because I thought that she was Catholic. Plus, if I recall correctly, she was in line for confession just this Sunday. Did something happen between now and then? Ooh. Are we starting to get some background on Eva? Okay. Well, regardless, it's not my place to judge. I'll just send a little prayer her way in case she's struggling with something. That's always safe. Unsurprisingly, Sarah and Ren don't partake either. I recall having learned something about this in my religious instruction class. The Eucharist is reserved for those who have discerned the Spirit and believe in the real presence of Jesus in what was once more mere bread and wine. I wondered to myself what those things actually mean.
The real presence in discerning the Spirit. I think it has something to do with the confession and being right with God. It deserves looking into. Maybe I should ask Father John sometime. Regardless, even if they can't receive communion with us, those who are in from other faith traditions are still our brothers and sisters in Christ. Correct! Correct! Thank you. I was really worried when it was talking about how this was a Catholic game that it would kind of demonize other denominations. I'm glad that it doesn't. It does respect the fact that there are that we are still brothers and sisters in Christ. Like, thank you. I'm so glad for that. I appreciate that. I take a moment to pray that one day we can all be united as one again, and that we can once again worship at the same table under the same roof as we are called to be. Nice. Okay. Hey, Goat Lady's back. Talia, right? After Mass, Sarah, Ren, and I wait for Eva and go to class. On the way there, we bump into Clover and bring her into our small group. Nothing of interest happens in the morning classes until I hear a noise behind me from Sarah.
Psst, hey Gabe.
I try my best to be subtle despite her persistence. I turn my ear and look with one of my eyes towards her to let her know that she's my attention. I don't know why you're whispering. The teacher's clearly asleep over there. Look at her sawing logs. I don't want her to get in trouble again like the other day after all.
So me and some of the others were thinking of going to the arcade tomorrow afternoon. Are you up for it?
Arcade, huh? I think it'd be pretty fun, actually. It would give me a chance to see some of the town while I'm out the boat. I give her a quick thumbs up to let her know my answer. I can feel her smile beaming behind me. I didn't really expect to be doing much this first weekend at a new school, but my destiny seems to lead down a more social path. I wonder who else is coming. I'll have to ask her after class so I don't get aggro from the teacher. Unfortunately, as soon as class ends, Sarah gets a head start out the door before I can ask who all will be coming. Oh well. It's lunchtime now, however. I don't really particularly hungry today for some reason. Maybe I'm just excited for tomorrow already. For now, I just decided to wander through the hallways thinking to myself, I wonder if I should get more reading done or something. As I'm walking through the hallways thinking about what I should do, I come across a less occupied hallway that appears somewhat out of the way from the rest of the school. Curious, I venture down the corridor as the chat of the other students going to lunch slowly dissipates. I round the corner to another wing that appears less used than the rest of the school. This is where I went for music class yesterday. As I go deeper into the hallway, I hear the muffled shredding of an electric guitar coming from somewhere within. I noticed a light on in one of the rooms, which is hard to notice at first due to the light from outside still beaming in from the windows. I approach the door curiously and lean in to view the door's window to peek in. There I see Arya jamming away with a cool and shiny black electric guitar with a white spider lily design on the head. Just listening to the tune here. Turn up my it's good rhythm. Does it play again or? Oh, there we go. Okay. I need to pull out my own guitar. I mean, mine's not electrical. I have an acoustic, but still. I dig it. Cool. It's connected up to a mid-sized amp with a red nose design on the top left corner. Seems she's a fan of floral rock and roll iconography. I watched for a moment, now thinking about how it would appear if she caught me staring in from outside. She continued to keep her eyes closed. I assumed to feel the final vibrations of the song she's playing. My self-awareness returns as I notice what I'm doing. I decide to turn around, back off, and go about my business. But just as I do, I accidentally bump the door with my backpack, and it bangs on one of my zippers, causing all my books to fall out. Whoops. Kneeling down in shame, I collect my belongings, taking my time as I know she's probably approaching the door now. I half expected her to open the door in the middle of me picking up my mess, but when I stand back up, her face is right at the window of the door, looking right down at me. Hey. She opens the door for me as I ready my apology for intruding. Come in. Sorry about that, I didn't mean to. Don't worry about it. Just come in before you attract any more attention. I hurry inside at her request. Arya shuts the door behind her, leaving me in that awkward position of being caught after listening in. So I was just walking by when I heard your guitar playing. No kidding. I also know this wing of the school is empty at this time of day, and you'd have to be walking out of your way to get here, too. Want to explain that? I was bored and looking for something to do. So you make a habit of wandering down empty school corridors? Come on, this isn't Hogwarts! Would you believe me if I just said yes? I pray my attempt at humor lightens the mood a bit. Not really, no. Darn, I didn't think it would work. I'm just not used to having company in here while I play. Sorry for intruding, then. This is where I used to play with my bandmates before they graduated. It's been a bit different without them here, but I'm getting used to it. I guess you can't meet up with them as often anymore, huh? No. They all had to get jobs, though we still do meet on occasion. We have to keep the band together, you know? Especially if we want to... Never mind. What was that? I guess they have some kind of goal in mind, but since she doesn't seem to want to share, I won't press her. What genre do you guys play?
alt-rock, punk, metal, industrial, basically anything with a darker vibe. True to her looks, then. Not to criticize too harshly, but I could have guessed most of that from her appearance alone. No, you sure? I would have guessed for sure she was a country girl. Not that I might have, nothing against the look or the genres. Anything you're willing to play in front of me? What, your free concert wasn't enough? Humor me with an encore. Arya puts a slight smirk on her face, apparently amused at our discourse. Okay, here we go. She read herself again and began strumming her guitar as before. The melody seems improvised and not too familiar, but it definitely has the feel of someone who knows her stuff. Not that I'm kind of an expert or to judge. I sit and listen for a while, mesmerized with the sound of her guitar. I've never been that deep into music, but hearing someone play live awakens some kind of spark within me. Well, it should. It almost makes me want to pick up an instrument. Hey! It made me want to pick up my guitar. Almost. I sit here and enjoy the music until its completion. Oh, we get to hear the full thing. Sweet. Jay, you're right. She plays a lot of flyleaf. Got it. For sure. No, that was tight. That was tight. I like that. Wow. Do I have to hit enter? As she finishes like she did before, she let the sound reverberate through the room while we soak in the last note. Bravo. I'm impressed. You must have practiced a long time to get this good. Thanks. It wasn't easy, but it's a great way to escape anything that's been going on in my life, so I just kind of attach myself to it. Holy crap, dude. No, Jay, you're still there, right? Doesn't this remind you of the story we wrote? That one story? What did we call it? It was a 2-part story about the girl who was liked electric guitar, and she met this guy, and he kind of opened her up to the church. You remember that? Jay, do you remember us working on that together? Let me know if you remember that. I never had the opportunity to play anything myself, so seeing someone so skilled up close is something else. Well, I take that back. I was forced to play a recorder in elementary school one time, but that didn't last very long, as my parents could only stand hot cross buns so many times in a row. I feel kind of self-conscious for taking up too much of her practice time, so I decided to give her space back. I don't want to keep you from practicing, so I'll get out of your hair. Ari doesn't respond verbally to this, but she gives me a little smirk. I'd like to get a list of those recommendations you mentioned earlier, if you don't mind. Jay, I was literally just thinking that. Yeah, me too, Jay. Wait, I want to write more of that, honestly. Want to trade cell numbers? You're pretty smooth for an underclassman, I'll give you that. She holds up her phone out with her contact information I entered into my phone. Hey, we already got some digits! Not from the girl I expected to get them from so quick, but I'll send you a few to get started with later tonight when I get back to my room. I'll wait in eager anticipation. I bet you will. Ooh, okay. After she gives me a final smirk, I head out the door and back into the hallway. Almost as soon as I hit the door, I can hear her start to play again. It's no wonder she's so good. I think about inviting her to the arcade to get together tomorrow, but decide against it. I don't know who all is coming or inviting to begin with. Heading back to the cafeteria, I find myself already regretting my decision to skip a meal. By the time I get to gym class later that day, I come to fully regret skipping lunch. Yeah, why don't you skip lunch, bro? I mean, come on. Didn't Ren tell you gotta eat right? Eat right! The coach starts today's class with some warm-ups and has us run a mile on the track before letting us choose what to do for the rest of the period. After all that movement and so little fuel, I decided to join the girls in the bleachers today, specifically Clover, Eva, and Arya. Being careful to avoid Ren, and especially Sarah's gaze, I knew she would pull me into their group in a heartbeat. I head over to the empty space around Arya, Clover, and Eva. I approach the girls with a quick greeting. Yo. Clover's the most obviously social of the group, so it's no surprise that she greets me first. The others hardly look at me when they were doing except Eva, who briefly looks over her book in my direction. Mind if I sit here? Nah, I was just telling Eva about all the exciting new things that FFKO is doing in the newest update. FFKO? Final 14th Nights Online. Oh yeah, it's been a while since I've done any good long-term gaming lately. I've been meaning to try out that Shady Soul series. Don't let the memes fool you. It may be hard at first, but once you get used to the controls, it's a matter of perseverance and skill. You'll still be looking at the Mortis screen a lot, but have enough faith in yourself, you'll get through it. I'll keep that in mind. I guess that's a Dark Souls reference? Yeah, gaming is practically my religion. I don't think there's a single series I haven't at least dipped my toes into at this point.
I don't doubt that at all. It would be a safe bet to assume that Clover would talk about games for hours if I let her. Speaking of religion, I know this is a Catholic school and all, but that doesn't mean everyone here is Catholic. Are you Catholic like the school implies, or do your views differ any? Clover seems to give the question a bit of thought, pauses for a bit, putting a finger just under her mouth while she does so, then just shrugs.
I don't know. I don't really think about it too much. There may be something up there, but I don't see the point in making a big fuss about it.
Ah, okay. She's a pragmatist. Clover's answer is a bit surprising, to say the least. An atheist and an agnostic going to a Catholic school. Interesting. I guess it shouldn't surprise me too much, though. Eva is probably Catholic since I know her, since I saw her online for the confessional. I still want to hear her thoughts on the matter. In fact, I want to hear what Arya says about the topic too, but maybe I shouldn't. It's a sensitive topic, after all. Speaking of Arya, even though I already know her musical taste, that could be a safer topic to include more people in, since just about everyone listens to music. TV shows are another safe topic, but I'm sure that could give me some insight into everyone. Just about everyone has a show or two that they're streaming, whether it's a popular stuff or something older and niche. If I'm going to redirect the conversation, now would be as good a time as any. Oh, we got to pick one of these. Okay, music, religion, TV shows. Religion, music, or TV shows. We just did a whole music thing with Arya. Religion is going to be a very touchy topic for them. I might lean on TV shows. Let's see what kind of TV shows we get. I have to do religion? Do I? I don't know. Everyone likes me for it? Really? TV shows is the best option? Okay, well. I mean, I figure religion would be too touchy and music would be her thing, but not theirs. I'm going to go TV show. I wonder if anyone watches the same kind of stuff I do. There's so much content to consume. I doubt anyone would have time to watch it all since it all just builds up over time. There's no way that all it could be consumed by everyone who's interested. I'm willing to bet a lot of content will be lost in time, especially less popular things, gems or not. Creators must get to a point in their career where they wonder if they will stand the test of time or it'll just job to them. I transitioned to the conversation over to my new topic. So what kind of shows do you watch?
Well, I usually have a show up or a stream while I'm gaming unless it's heavily atmospheric or a cutscene heavy game. Stuff like anime, sci-fi, or just VTubers being silly. Did you know a lot of Monster Girl VTubers have gotten popular lately? I don't really know much about that scene, but I imagine it's the same as any other streamer except that play a character's personality the whole time. Okay, question. This is genuinely a question. Would a Monster Girl VTuber actually work? Because the whole point of a VTuber is you're creating an anime avatar to stand in for you. Like, okay, I'm human, but if I made a, let's say, Slime Girl avatar as my VTuber avatar, then I could still technically be a Monster Girl VTuber because I've got a Slime Girl as my avatar. So literally, you could just have a human girl make a Monster Girl avatar, and would that be a Monster Girl VTuber? I mean, if Clover here made her own VTuber avatar and it was a Slime Girl, would that count? Hey, Dev here, heard there were questions? Oh, dude, what's up, man? I'm actually really loving your game, man. I'm actually loving this. It's very, very fun. It was not at all what I was expecting. It's actually making me think. There's endless amount of Monster Girl VTubers. Well, that's my point. It's like I feel like that would be a bit of a contradiction. like it's kind of like Monster Girl VTubers are becoming very popular, but if they're VTubers, how do you know they're Monster Girls? There's literally a cockroach VTuber. Somehow that doesn't surprise me. All right, moving on. Can't say I'm familiar with VTubers, although I've watched a few streamers before. I've honestly rather play games than watch them being played. Yeah, I get that. I only really watch for the funny interactions they have together. Sometimes I feel like it's your own form of drama TV, except more like if anime characters are always doing impromptu acts. Just kind of a personality or two you like, and you get swept away in the stream. I think I saw one of those streamers once. I think it was a fish girl, and she was talking to her viewers, calling them her prawns or something.
A fish girl calling her viewers her prawns.
I didn't take you for the type to watch anything like that. But yeah, she's a dolphin girl, and she calls her viewers shrimpletons.
Shrimpletons? That's actually genius. Okay, if anyone in the chat is actually planning on becoming a VTuber, do that. Do that. Be an aquatic person and call your viewers shrimpletons. Do that. That's actually brilliant. That's actually brilliant. That's a whole different level I don't think I'm ready for. No, you're not ready for it. You have to be prepared. You have to level it up. So, Eva, what kinds of things are you watching? She thinks to herself for a moment, toying with her bookmark.
Honestly, not all that much. Sometimes my parents will have something on and I'll sit next to them while reading, but nothing that has ever captured my attention. I tried watching a show based on a book series I like, but it just didn't feel anything like how the book was written.
I assure you that you're not the first person to have an opinion like that. In most cases, it's universally agreed upon to be true. It's funny how almost everyone comes to that same conclusion. Well, hold on. Did you like Lord of the Rings? You mentioned you liked Lord of the Rings earlier, Eva. What did you think of the movies? You cannot tell me you didn't like the movies. You cannot tell me that. Like, there are exceptions, of course, but by and large, books and movies are just too different of mediums to be 100% faithful to the reproduction. Arya?
Going to have to pass on that one.
Oh, not much of a TV person? I can respect that.
Nah, it's probably that she doesn't want you to know about all the witch and magical girl.
Just then a pin hits Clover in the face with a quiet thud, interrupting her sentence. Oh. Okay, so Arya's into magical girl anime. Let's go. I kind of saw that coming.
Ow. Okay, I get it. No mention of your tastes.
In the meantime, Arya looks away and continues listening to her music as if nothing happened. Guess I'll have to get to know her better if I want to find out her tastes outside of music. At least Clover and Eva were a lot more open about it, so it wasn't all for nothing. Just then I hear Sarah call out to us to come and do a free throw contest. Despite my hunger, I don't really have an excuse not to do so, I agree. I'll be down there in a bit. Well, I guess I shouldn't keep her waiting. They seem pretty competitive out there.
Have fun.
I raise my hand to wave bye. Clover does likewise, while Eva nods towards me before putting her focus back on her book. Ah! Skew 3 again. I head over down to the bleachers where Sarah, Rin, and Maya are waiting for me. There isn't much time for us to warm up, so my first few shots are a bit sloppy. I managed to beat Sarah's and Rin's score, but Maya takes the cake with a perfect 10 out of 10 shots. Whoa, Maya the cat coming up on top. Apparently Sarah and Rin had another running bet that I couldn't beat either of them, but since I beat everyone but Maya, I was granted immunity. I'll have to bear in mind how competitive they are when it comes to sports, so I don't keep ending up as a target of their bets. The final bell of the day comes, much to my relief. Having skipped out on lunch earlier, I vow to never do that again, or at least keep another breakfast bar in my backpack for emergencies. No, word to the wise, as experienced from college, do not skip lunch. Never skip lunch. You can skip breakfast, that's fine. Do not skip lunch. You will not survive. After grabbing a quick snack from a nearby vending machine, I head to the library to get some more of my reading done, just for a change of atmosphere. Entering the library once again, I take in the atmosphere again while the voices in the hallway slowly fade away. Sorry, the voice is starting to hurt a bit. Well, it's not that my voice hurts, it's that my throat feels sore from all the voices I'm doing. Give me a second. Gotta massage the throat muscles. It's like right at the base of my tongue. Okay. I seat myself at one of the tables away from any other person so I can concentrate on my book. I settle in, letting myself get immersed in the points that the author is trying to get across. I suddenly notice something cold and wet hit the back of my neck. I look around to see what could have been. Nobody's quite near enough for it to have been someone around me. I look up as well to make sure that it's not a leaky air conditioner vent. I've seen something else like that happen before in buildings with poor maintenance. Whatever. I roll the water off my neck and turn back to my book. After another short while, I feel it again. Oh, come on. You don't know what it is. I know what it is. A blind man can tell you what it is. What the heck? As I say this aloud, I stand up quickly and look around. Yeah! Obviously it was Clover. She's made of the goo. I notice Clover sitting on her usual spot with her big gaming setup still working its magic. I keep my eye on her direction for a bit longer to see if I can catch her in the act. It doesn't take long for her to peek back towards me, then jerk her face back forward. Suspicious. No. You have to say it as a gamer would. That's sus. There we go. I decide to sneak around the long way to get her blind spot ready to spook her. But as soon as I run around the corner, gotcha! Cold water hits my face, the source of which seems to be coming from her fingertips. Her hands are in a finger gun shape, like thumbs with her pointer finger still aimed at my face. She chuckles as the water drips from my forehead. You got me. Neat trick. I say this half amused, half impressed. I can't be entirely mad. It really is a unique skill. Oh, dude, if I was a slime chick, I'd do it. Well, are there slime dudes? I've never seen a slime dude in any medium. I've seen slime girls. I've never seen a slime dude. Are there slime dudes? Whatever. Questions for later.
Many years of training in the art of finger guns.
I've got to say, it's not really a fair fight. I'm going to have to find some way to get you back at you somehow. What was it that Damien said that slime people are weak against? Maybe we can use that as ammunition against her. Oh, God, what are they weak to? Oh, God, he said it! Wait, do we have a codex? We have a codex. We can phone a friend. Slimes are a strange and unique race of monster with their bodies. Mystery. Okay. They can eat and absorb nutrients. They are weak to the cold. They are weak to the cold! Ha! Gotcha! You're weak to the cold. I was ready. I did my homework. That's right. Some people are weak to the cold. I wonder if this will put her in her place. If you're not careful, I might have to sneak up behind you and pour some ice down your back. Clover freezes in mock fear, utter defeat on her face.
You've been doing your homework, I see.
It's hard to do a tired voice with her. I'm trying to do like a bored, tired voice, and that's a little hard to do, especially when she gets excited.
You've been doing your homework, I see. It seems that I have a formidable opponent now. Fine, I swear I won't squirt you with my finger guns again for a week or so.
She mumbles the last part, but I still catch it. I decide to play along anyway. All right, I'll have to find something else to use as revenge, like hard candies.
Oh, please do. I prefer sweet candies. Nothing sour, though. It shocks my taste buds too much.
Huh, okay. No, I'm not sure where you taste it. If I hit the back of your head, are you just going to absorb it in?
Not until I identify what it is, you know? There are way too many things that get stuck in my body to just absorb anything that gets stuck in me.
What a strange conversation. Look, I'm not going to say I've had a lot of conversations with slime girls. Maybe one or two, but this seems pretty normal for them, I would argue. You know what? I recall when I had a conversation with my centaur girlfriend back in college, and it felt a little less awkward than this. We need more good Christian media. I hope others are inspired to do greater things than this. Dude, Yomik, this is great. This is absolutely fantastic. If you actually do a sequel, let me know. I would love to help out if I could, because I love Christian media. I want to help produce it. I am a writer. I love monster stuff. I love myth and all that kind of stuff. Would love to help if I could. I know that that's being presumptuous, but this is so awesome. Everything about this is so much better than I was expecting. I'm saying this now because I might have to wrap up pretty soon because I'm nearing the end of my streaming time. But honestly, this is so cool. This is so neat. Everything that's been done here is so creative. I never in my life assumed that I'd be talking about how a slime person works to a slime girl, no less. Well, since I'm technically taking a break now, why don't you show me what you're up to? I didn't really get a good look the other day.
Yeah, sure. So you're familiar with FFKO already, right?
Yeah, Final 14th Nights Online. I've never played it, but it's an online action role-playing game where you fight monsters and interact with a bunch of other players.
Those are the basics of any MMO, but what makes this one different is that your one character can take on any role or class the game offers.
Alright, but it sounds like a lot to get into. Is it going to take a while to catch up to you?
Nah, the game really has a nice pace from beginning to end, introducing you to each system as you go.
I still don't know if that kind of commitment is something I'm ready for. It's not for me, honestly. I'm regretting my choice to talk about games. I would probably go more for the reading. Let's see if I can shift topics to other games for now. Well, I don't know if I'm ready for that, but I have been looking into some new single-player games to play lately. Do you have any recommendations? I see that you have a wide variety here already. Without missing a beat, even amidst fighting hordes of monsters on screen, Clover responds to me excitedly.
What's your poison? Pick a genre. Any genre. I have more recommendations than you'll have time to play. Though I'll have to insist if you want to get back into gaming, I wouldn't mind having an IRL friend to play Final 14th Nights with. Plus, the game is having a promotion for new players soon, so now will be a good time as any to start.
Okay, I'll consider it. It does look pretty high quality, so long as it doesn't get in the way of any of the other school activities. Well, I watch her mow down more enemies and explore the world she's in. I think of what type of games I might like recommendations for. Okay, so here we go. Let's ask for some recommendations. Let's see. We'll try high action. I'm in the mood for something fast-paced, something that will test my reaction times, get my blood pumping.
I see. Something fast and challenging. Well, there's always the Shady Soul series. Just about everyone complains about the difficulty, but once you learn your movesets as well as the enemies, you're golden. Then there are the first-person shooters. I've always been a fan of the classics like Mood and Quarter Life. Fighting games can also get your blood pumping if you get competitive with it, but there are casual fighters for newbies too. There really are a lot of genres in the action realm, but those should get you started there. Thanks, I'll keep that in mind. Alright, let's try Relax. Sometimes I just want to lay back, relax, and do nothing for hours at a time. Get anything with a nice chill vibe? That depends on if you want casual games or not. The trifecta of comfy core is Mineshaft, Terrarium, and Anime Crossing.
Gosh, I have no idea what those are in reference to.
Though there are a lot of sandboxes like these, they're the ones that become the most popular. Then there's simulation games. Anything from Ram World to Roller Coaster Capitalist or anything where you just build things and watch your little peons do work is pretty chill.
Roller Coaster Capitalist. Bruh. Oh, what a name.
Lastly, rhythm games can be relaxing once you get better at them at least. Sure, they'll pump you up with your music, but once you get into the vibe, your body and mind will sync to the music.
Sounds pretty comfy. I'll keep that in mind when I'm in that kind of mood. Should I ask for any other recommendations? Yes, something story heavy. What more names can you give me?
Yeah, you sure you don't want to watch a movie or read a book? Just kidding. There's plenty of stuff like that I'm into. First off, you have those movie-type games you're talking about, which still usually have quite a bit of action in them as well. Then you have visual novels. Usually anime art style, but some Western-styled VNs have been doing a good job keeping up, too. I particularly like the Stay Fake Gate series, as well as the Octi Games trilogy.
Stay Fake Gate series. Again, no idea what that's in reference to.
And if you don't mind a bit of slice of life before series, try the Love Dove series.
I imagine the visual novel audience is a bit more hardcore than the anime fandom. Then again, it does have the benefit of basically being a book with visuals and music. Maybe trying out one will broaden my horizon on both gaming and anime front. Alright, and something just to pass the time. Anything I might just be able to play here and there? Something not too serious when I'm bored between classes? Clover points her finger at her side monitor, the one with all the little games seeming playing themselves.
See all these gacha games I have open over here? There's no need to really grind to this extent. I just like to make sure I get all the characters every time they're released, but that's not necessary to beat the games. Most people try to play the story sections, do their daily quests, and occasionally go hard during the events. Now, I don't recommend them for most people because it's very possible to get addicted.
You mean like you?
Guilty. I can make as many excuses as I want, like, at least I'm not spending money, but all the time I spend could go to better use. I just like all the cute characters. I'm a collectomaniac. I can stop anytime, I swear.
No, she can't! You are an addict! You need help! Okay, well, keep telling yourself that.
That I do.
You know, she reminds me of Hannah. She honestly reminds me of Hannah. I wish Hannah could be here tonight. She's a friend of mine. She reminds me of Hannah in a big way. Oh my gosh, that is awesome.
But anyways, pick any of those and I'll friend you them so you can boost your teams up.
Alright, I'll give you one of them a shot. I think that's all for now, so that should be good for now. If I need any more recommendations, I know who to ask.
So are you going to the arcade with everyone tomorrow after school?
Oh yeah, Sarah told me about that. I wasn't sure who will be going, but I guess it would make sense for you to be too.
Does it though? I am an introvert after all.
A self-aware one at that. You're not a complete shut-in after all, are you?
Don't let my sharp wit fool you. After this conversation, I'm going right back into the zone. Anyways, Ren and Eva are coming along too. Ren is a fan of fighting games, so sharpen your skills if you want to play with her.
And Eva?
She's surprisingly good at rhythm games. I wouldn't have believed it if I didn't see it myself, but it's a fact.
What about Arya? I was thinking of asking her to come along since she doesn't seem to have a lot of people to hang out with.
Arya? Well, Sarah and her don't really get along that much, so I doubt she extended an invitation to her.
Oh, some sort of bad blood between them?
It's a religious difference. Sarah was raised hardcore evangelical Christian, and while she seems fine around people like me who don't care about religion, she has a problem with Arya's dabblings in the occult.
Oh, Arya dabbles in the occult. Oh, okay. Well, that shapes things up a bit. What, like pagan stuff? That's a bit more of a surprise to me than her just saying that she has issues with religion. I've never really taken any of that stuff seriously, considering the myths and all the silly shows that air about witch covens and whatnot.
Is she into it seriously, or is it just a fascination with it? Dunno. Doesn't really concern me all that much since I'm not close enough with Arya or Sarah to get involved. Just saying, if you want to invite Arya, keep that in mind.
Well, I'll think about it. In the meantime, I won't keep you from what you're doing here. Besides, I'm going to try and finish this book before you snipe me across the library.
Sorry about that.
No worries, I'll see you tomorrow, then.
Laters.
Clover waves again, still facing her screen like before. I hope she does well on her test tomorrow, despite my assumption she still hasn't read her book. Then again, if what Sarah said is true, she might not have a problem being naturally smart and all. I wonder how she'll make up for the knowledge only found in these books, however. Oh well, not my problem, I guess. I'd better find someplace out of range of Clover's antics if I want to concentrate this time. I exit the library with my book still in hand, thinking where the best place to read would be. A thought crossed my mind. I could check out the basketball club instead. I already checked out the martial arts club with Ren yesterday. It couldn't hurt to check out my other sports options. Plus, a good easy opportunity to hang out with Sarah. I should still have enough time to read tonight and tomorrow regardless. It's not like I won't have the free time. Either way, if I don't check out the remaining sports club now, I'll probably lose interest in it altogether. What should I do this afternoon? Well, I'm honestly kind of surprised by this. Most dating sim style games really are unforgiving. They limit you. Like, if you make a choice, you are set, you know? You kind of shut yourself off, but this one really does open you back up in many ways. Like, I thought that if I picked the martial arts club, the basketball club was gone, but here we are, about to go right back to it. So, hey, I mean, it's very forgiving. It's very forgiving. So if you went down the martial arts route, which apparently Ren likes, and you decide, nah, I'm not a big fan of Ren, and you want to go back to the basketball club to get it on with Sarah, it gives you that option. So that's kind of creative. I kind of like that. All right, let's check out the basketball club, I say. Come on and slam, and welcome to the jam. If I want a bigger dose of the game we played 2 days ago, this is where I'm going to get it. I arrive in the field outside the gymnasium where many of the same sports team I saw Sunday are out training. I see a track team, the football team, the martial arts club, and the cheerleaders all packed in their respective areas. Earlier this week, Sarah told me that I should meet her here after school if I'm still interested in checking out the basketball team. I head over to the cheerleader squad where Sarah's leading a cheer. I'm not reading that. Okay, done. Sarah and the cheerleaders bounce around energetically cheering after their chant. After their energy and elation increases, they continue their drills. I just don't see where they store all that energy. Who knows? I've never been involved in any sport that requires this much team spirit. Elementary school basketball doesn't count for me, even though I did appreciate my parents' encouragement. Oh, hold on, guys. 1 second. I just got a text. One second. I need to see who it's from. Okay. All right, not a big deal. I'll deal with it later. All right, maybe I'll start feeling about joining the basketball team later next month. As I continue to watch Sarah practice, I feel more determined about joining up. And besides, maybe it could raise my spirits even more to have some animated girls cheer me on. As Sarah and the others finish their routines, I approach the group. Sarah noticed me from afar and excitedly prances over.
Hey, Gabe, I'm glad you came.
Well, I did have fun with the game we played the other day, even though we lost. I figured I'd give it a more serious shot.
That's great to hear. The actual basketball tryouts aren't even for another month or so since basketball section starts in late fall, but they like to do drills early in the year to keep their edge up. Right now, they only have 9 people on the sign-up sheet, so it'd be a big help if they had more people to even out the offense and defense. At the very least, I won't just be bench warming, even if I doubt I'd get a starting position. That is, if I don't get any more sign-ups. Yeah. My cheeks hurt from reading so much. I'm going to need to rest my face for the rest of the night. Sarah leads me inside where the familiar sounds of the gym hit my ears once again. Squeaky sneakers, basketball bounces, and random shouts to call out positions. Sarah bias. No, I like Sarah. Actually, you know what, guys? I'm going to be real with you for a second. I'm going to be real. I have no idea who I should be aiming for right now. Because usually when I play these kind of games, and I haven't played many, I've only played like 2 or 3. But anytime I play these games, I've kind of already got one I'm gearing towards. Like, there's one that I'm kind of like, yeah, I like this one the most. All these girls are endearing. I think any one of them could be fun to romance in the game. Like, legitimately. Like, these girls are very well written. They're all wholesome. They're all intriguing. Like, even the edgy one isn't a jerk. She's just edgy. So, it's kind of like,
I would not be upset with any who I get with. So I think it's best to just be honest about this, I will admit Rin was my favorite starting out because I love martial arts, first of all, and I love the action-packed spunky girls. But Sarah is very fun. I really like her attitude, and she's not a ditz. I really like Eva. I actually hate that we're not getting to see more of her, and I regret that I didn't say I like reading more because I think she would be very fun to converse with. I guess if I had to pick one that I'm not too fond of, gosh, that's a hard choice. That is such a hard choice. Arya is just going to have to grow on me. I think, because she is starting off a little edgy. And the whole occult thing is a little worrying. But, I mean, I'm sure there's a reason. I'm sure there's a rationale for it. I think that what she's going on with her, and I could be wrong. Devs, don't ruin this for me, so don't tell me. But my opinion is that she isn't fully committed to this whole occult thing. She's kind of doing it as almost a cry for attention. That's why she sits in the in the chapel. She sits in the church when she's doing her note taking. It's partially because of the acoustics, but also partially because she wants to be seen. She's kind of waiting for someone to approach her. Deep down, she wants to be drawn back in, but she wants someone to pull her in. She's making herself available to be pulled in. So a little bit of this, I think, is a kind of a cry for help. So that's what I think is going on. I could be very much wrong. There is a rationale. I won't spoil anything. Please don't. I want to be surprised. But I'm really disappointed because I guarantee that no matter who I end up with, like let's say that I get with Ren in the end. Let's say that it's Ren in the end. I'm worried that I'll only have Ren's story. Because what happens so often in these kind of games is when you pick your romance path, you learn so much about that character, but the others are kind of just drifted off to the wayside. And that's what it looks like it's happened with Eva. Eva's just kind of drifted off now, and I'm like, no, she was cool. So hopefully we'll get a chance to move her back into things, because I want to learn more about these girls. They're very well written. All right. We sit together and watch the team for a little while longer until we get a discussion about homecoming. A lot of us cheerleaders are on the homecoming preparation team, so we've been having a lot of informal meetings to go over the details. I can't wait to see what the gym will look like with all the Monster Mash decorations in October. I know that it's almost 2 months away, but still. It's kind of ironic to be a monster girl getting excited about an event where people dress up as, well, monsters. I decided to bring it up now since Damien said such things are usually fair game. No need to treat people differently, after all. So what kind of things do monster people look forward to dressing up as for a Monster Mash? Oh yeah, I guess you're not used to all this coming from a public school and all. Honestly, most people just come with whatever they feel like, as any non-monster person would. Although it is funny when a monster person dresses up as something in a completely different direction than their monster type. Once for Halloween, my dad dressed up with a lion's mane and tail. Everyone kept calling him a manticore because the tail looked like a snake and the wings came by default. How about you? Are you planning on dressing up? I don't know. I haven't really thought about it much. Plus, I don't have anyone to go with. Anyway, it might have been a last-minute thing since I didn't bring a costume from home or anything. Oh, it's not too hard to start something together last minute nowadays. Plus, there are always pop-up stores around town this time of year for Halloween-related things. We'll get you set up. Speaking of which, I need to look for helping hands around the school for school spirit events. You don't happen to know anybody I could rope into helping out, do you? Perhaps someone taller and athletic? I might be able to think of a few people who might be able to help. Taller and athletic. Obviously, Ren. Oh, I get... I see where this is going. Oh, my gosh. Game. You are so mean, game. That's so mean. Because it's obvious what it's doing here. It's so... If I say Ren... Because what she's doing... You know that old meme? Where it's like a girl expresses interest and the guy's too stupid to see it? This is that moment. Because if I say anything other than me, she's going to be disappointed. I gotta say me! That's the rule, man! I can't say Ren! Because she's going to say, duh, of course, Ren. I was talking about you dummy! It's me. I suppose I could. It's not like I have any other plans. Oh, would you? That'd be great. Yeah, like that wasn't what she was gonna... No, of course, what? Me? You weren't thinking of me. We could use a little bit of extra height and strength for some of the more difficult things.
Oh boy, I guess I'll have a lot of work ahead of me then. Don't sweat it. It'll all be done before you know it. Besides, you'll have me and everyone else to keep you company.
I guess that's not so bad, huh?
Nope.
We continue to watch the guys practice until I finally muster up enough courage to talk to the coach about trying out. I tell Sarah that I'll see her later, and she wishes me good luck. The coach seems happy at the prospect of another potential candidate and tells me to come to the next practice to try out. When I finish my business with the coach, I decide to head back to the dorms and continue reading my assignment. Lost in thought on the way to the dorms, I wander about campus before making it back in one piece. On the way back to my room, I hear footsteps coming down the hallway towards me. When I look in the direction of the sound, I notice Damien heading my way. Bruh, Damien, my boy, how you doing, man?
Fancy meeting you here again. You come here often?
What's up, Damien? He talks like you, Jay. Jay, if you're still there, Gabriel talks like you. Were you the inspiration for this character?
Going to another meeting? Of course. Meetings are the bread and butter of bureaucracy. But it's fine. I enjoy the work I do for the school.
I'm pretty curious what exactly if it is that the student council does around the school. Okay, you want me to tell you what the student council does? I will explain. They determine the fate of the universe. In every anime that I've ever seen, the student council has more power than the king. Like, the student council could determine the fate of the entire country. So this guy is the most powerful person you've met. He has the power to determine who lives and who dies. This man is a monster. Literally. All right, let's keep going. In my old one, it was basically just the shell of a group that just approved things that were already going to happen anyway from the adults in charge. So what is it you guys actually do? I mean, besides the meetings?
We're in charge of planning various annual school events. But aside from that, we do a lot of public ministry outreach programs designed to help students increase their faith through good works. It's a bit more involved than I would guess most other student councils are, since there's always people in need and things that need doing from a faith perspective. Man, that really makes me feel like I haven't been doing enough as a Christian considering all the school does. Don't worry, if you feel called to anything, there'll be plenty of opportunities to lend a hand. Still, for some reason, there's a bit of hesitation of action inside. I wonder if it's laziness, sloth, or something else. This is actually something I get asked a lot during streams when people want to talk faith. They ask about how come I don't feel the Spirit leading me. Well, there are two cases for that. One thing that you may need to do is, again, put your priorities in order. Is God a priority in your life? But the other thing to keep in mind is that sometimes God calls us to act at the right moment. You know, like, sometimes God calls us to wait. Like, I mean, you got to realize that God's timing is everything. God may be preparing you for a moment in time to use you. So don't assume, like, if you say, I don't feel this urge yet, maybe God's waiting for the right time. I'm not saying that's always the case. But yeah, that guy's me for sure. He's a night owl. This dude's you, Jay. This dude's you, Jay. You got to play this game now. I don't know. I've always kind of felt lukewarm, and although I feel the tug a bit, something feels like it's stopping me, and I don't know what it is. Don't stress about it too much. I wasn't always as involved as I am now. Damien had a reassuring look on his face. For some reason, it calms me a bit. Let me tell you a story about what finally got to me. I was a cradle Catholic similar to your situation. A few years ago, I went through a confirmation class, the one designed to help you learn what to expect and where to go from there. During the first lesson, the instructor took a Bible, threw it on the ground in front of us, and posed a question. What would you say if I told you everything in this book was a lie? Needless to say, all of us were speechless, having led sheltered lives before this, most not once questioning our faith. This was my first introduction to what the church calls apologetics, which is a fancy term for defense of the faith. During this instruction, we were given the tools to both question our faith and how to find the answers to those difficult questions. That's not where my faith journey ended, though. I took this opportunity to seek more wisdom, particularly in the Bible. For the first time outside of church instruction, I read the entire New Testament by myself, something I hadn't really done before. After that, I additionally read a few select books from the Old Testament, particularly focused on the collection called the Books of Wisdom. I fell in love with my faith and by proxy, of course, Jesus. I don't know what took me so long to go down that path. I might have blamed a lot of the leadership or lack thereof on the church herself. Faith instruction has been sorely lacking for decades from what I hear, clearly mirrored by the vast numbers of people leaving the faith every day. Not to mention the child abuse scandals that peaked in the 70s. Fortunately, the church at large has taken great steps to protect children through various programs like Protecting God's Children. But that's neither here nor there. What matters now is how we plan to move forward to carry out God's will and right the wrongs of the past and present. I decided to go forth and become a better person so I can affect positive change in the world. That's the path I think that God wants me to take. Needless to say, I'm a bit speechless. I wouldn't have expected someone like an instructor to go that far to prove a point. I guess it might take something like that to get someone's attention, but what's important is the takeaway.
It's okay to question your faith and seek out the hand towards the hard questions. Actually, that's a great point. I want to touch on that real quick. That's great. It is okay to question your faith. I agree with that wholeheartedly. One thing that I've been asked a lot, and it was something I asked myself, is what if I have questions? What if I have doubts? What if I have concerns? That's totally good. Like, it's good to have questions. It's good to have doubts. It's good to have you need those, because by asking the questions, you get answers, and by seeking those answers, you strengthen your faith. It's not a bad thing that you have doubts or questions or concerns. What you do is you take those and you build on that foundation to discover the answer. Okay, you know what? This is a fantastic game. This is fantastic. I am actually mind blown by this. I was doing this almost as a joke at first, like kind of like, this is probably just going to be some goofy silliness, probably, kind of funny here and there, maybe a few little tongue-in-cheek jokes. This is so well written, very good Christian messages inside of it, very open and wholesome. The characters are very in-depth. I'm actually intrigued at where it's going to go. 10 out of 10. I'm very much enjoying this. Perhaps I have some soul-seeking to do. So do I. Well, I don't mean to keep you too long. Don't sweat it. I appreciate you opening up to me like that. It'll give me plenty to think about for sure. Glad I could be of service. Anyways, not to change the subject or anything, but did you take the time to think about my offer from 2 days ago? Oh yeah, he said he would put in a good word for me around the school if I had an eye on anyone in class. Since school's homecoming system gives girls the advantage of asking someone out, this might be my only chance of the year to get a date. Why not? It certainly can't hurt us who might trust in his intentions. Is there any one girl I would have my eye on more than the rest of them? Oh, this is where we actually start, actually making the choice. Okay. All right. This will be my final decision of the night, then I have to go. Okay. This is tricky. Okay. I am torn between Sarah and Ren. They are my two favorites right now. Okay. Okay, let's see. I need to pray to the Lord for guidance. Join me in prayer, my congregation, my flock. Let us join together. Lord, give us the right decision. Honestly, you're almost done with the demo. Really? Oh my gosh. There's one more scene after this? Really? Oh my gosh. Well, you know what? Let's go Ren, because I love martial arts. The Dragon Girl aesthetic is cool. I'm going to go Ren. But if we're almost done with the demo, then there's not much more to it. So let's just do this. Although she seems more interested in her sport, I wonder if Ren would have any interest in homecoming. I see you like a challenge then. She certainly won't be easy to convince, but I can tell the right people about the story of why you came here. She might focus her attention on you a bit more. As much as I don't care to ever bring that up, it might be crazy enough to work. I'll see to it that you're put in a noble light. I would never think of tarnishing your name. Just consider joining the martial arts club. Like you said, she cares about fitness more than guys, so if you want to grab her attention, you'll have to show personal improvement yourself. Not sure how much I'll regret this, but what's done is done. At least Father John seemed to trust him. He has to be an upstanding citizen to get his notice, or at least a good liar. To get Father John's notice, you got to be an upstanding citizen or a very good liar. Father John, what kind of standards are you setting? That's awesome. And despite his outward appearance, he kind of comes across as a charmer and smooth talker. All right, well, I have a date with the student council to get to, so I'll see you around. Okay, when he said I have a date with the student council, I wanted him to put on shades and just walk out. Just, I have a date with the student council. Yeah! Let me know if you ever need anything. Sure thing, take care. See ya. Damien starts back down the hallway, throwing his half-hearted wave over his shoulder behind him. I resist the urge to way back this time, recalling the absurdity of doing so last time. Back in my dorm room, I lugged my backpack lazily on the floor next to my bed before retrieving my book. I fell back onto the bed and lay back, reflecting on the day's events once again. The conversation with Damien proved an interesting topic of consideration. What am I missing in my life that's keeping me from becoming spiritually fulfilled? Having grown up in similar circumstances, being what's this? Sans being a monster person. That might be a typo there, I think. Having grown up in similar circumstances, sans being a monster person, I don't think I had much reason to go deeper into my faith than weekly church attendance. Maybe if I had someone that that would have encouraged me to seek a deeper meaning, and mean in a really meaningful way, I would have turned out a bit more like Damien. There's no use in that kind of thinking, however. All that matters is what I decide to do from here. Well, at least for now, I should focus on my studies and getting closer to my friends. I had a lot of fun today with the girls in gym class today, and even if it was just talking. Running into Aria and having her play was pretty inspiring, too. Maybe if our practice in choir could have the potential to be a rock star like her. Yeah, right, like that could ever happen. It's fun to imagine that Aria and her band likely have years of talent and experience over me. If I end up with no other talent, I could always just look forward to gaming with Clover. She did invite me to play her MMO after all, and the subscription looked pretty affordable on my budget if I don't spend much else. So long as I keep up with my studies, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. Then again, if I'm feeling more active, I always have the basketball team as an option. She really does have a personality that can hype you up about anything. I wonder if I really do have what it takes to join the basketball team. Regardless of what I choose, I feel I'll be having a busy school life this year. Just then I get a text from Ari with a list of a few indie rock bands. I begin composing a text to tell her thanks, but I stop and recall my earlier intention to invite her to the arcade tomorrow with everyone else. Clover told me that Ari and Sarah have some issues with one another, so it might not be the best idea to bring her along. Then again, Aria does seem to have to be left out of a lot of things. And she does seem lonely, which is further highlighted by the fact that most, if not all of her friends graduated last year. It would be a shame to leave her out of this, too. Let's just thank her for the music list or invite her to the arcade. Okay. This is rough. This is a tough choice. This is a tough choice. But I think that it would be right to invite her. Because if she really is in a situation where she needs help, if there is a cry for help going on here, she might need this interaction. So I think we should invite her. Yeah, I think I'll side with Ari on this one. Regardless of what she's into, she's still a cool person. And if it doesn't matter that she's a grade above us, she seems lonely without her band members here. I composed my text thanking her for the music recommendations, letting her know that I'll listen to some tonight. After that, I had an open invitation to go to the arcade if she wants to, so she doesn't feel too obligated. After a minute or two, she replies back thanking me for the invite, but says she'd rather not go if Sarah's going to be there. Fair enough, at least I asked. Okay, so she turned it down. Perhaps we can find some other way of hanging out without any added drama. Well, what's done is done. I lay back in my bed to listen to a few songs from the band she sent me. I close my eyes and begin reflecting on what the future holds for me at this school. Whoa! Aw, that's cute. Wait, Ari! She's back! Hey! She's back there! Every one of my friends seem to be quite unique in their own regard. I don't just mean the fact that they came from a diverse range of monster people. Each of us has a unique personality, background, circumstance, but the one thing that unites us is the fact that we are all created in the image and likeness of God. Regardless of who we are, what we believe, or where we come from, we are all united by that fact. I pray that we can all have fruitful friendships that bring us closer to each other, a more perfect world, and to God himself. And all of you reading Wholesome Monster Girl Academia, I hope and pray that you also get something out of this as well. Peace be with you all, my brothers and sisters in Christ. And that, I think, is the end of the demo. Oh, what the heck? Well, how do you enjoy the demo of Wholesome Monster Girl Academia? If you want to see what route you'd most likely go down, wait until the end of this little outro. If you want to follow for updates, check out the Twitter. And don't forget to wishlist again with stream. When you have done that, just come join us on the Discord server. Credits. My brother literally just texted me, so I do need to kind of blow through this. So apologies, but I will come back to this. So let me get through this because I do kind of want to see where I'd end up. Thank you again for playing and coming back soon. And by the way, during this playthrough, I asked each of the girls their opinion about taking you to homecoming, and this is what they had to say. All right, here we go. Gabe, he's a good friend, but he's not really my type. Oh, Sarah, no. Why? Okay. Perhaps if he had some more school spirit. Okay. That guy? Yeah, he's pretty enthusiastic. Real go-getter. Sure, I'd take him to the dance. I wonder if he's a party animal like me. Okay, cool. Oh, yeah, he seems pretty cool. I'm not down for dance stuff, but I wouldn't mind showing up in costume for that kind of thing with him. A Halloween costume? Well, close enough. Maybe I'll go to homecoming with somebody one day, but nobody in particular has caught my interest. Besides, it's not like I like anyone anyways. I'm not really sure who you're talking about. Oh, that new guy? I don't have anything against him, but dances aren't really my thing. If you were hoping for a different result, experiment around with different choices. Anyway, see you around next time. Don't forget to follow me for future updates if you enjoyed the demo. And one last time, if you enjoyed the demo, consider wishlisting the game on stream. You don't forget about us during development. I will not. May the peace of Christ be with you all. Absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Oh my gosh. So, guys, we have just finished playing. We'll go ahead and close that out there. Wow. We use that for the noise test. We'll go back here. Okay. So, guys, That was incredible. That was actually really fun. I'll be honest with you guys, when I saw the game, I thought it was a joke. And I thought that it was kind of going to be like sort of a kind of like, oh, you're going to this Catholic school and all these girls are there and it's going to be, risque. Because let's face it, with all the Monster Girl media and anime like Monster Musume and Monster Girl Doctor and all that, I thought, yeah, they're going to take some not so safe directions. I was worried about that. But honestly, never happened. Very wholesome. Very well written. The character designs are great. The directions are really creative. The messages about Christianity are all on point. I heard no contradictions. I heard nothing that made me go, hold on. So honestly, that was all fantastic. To be perfectly honest, it was also well paced. I thought that it was well paced. There were a few moments, if I were to criticize anything at all, there were a few moments that I thought were a little heavy-handed. Like, for example, some of the talks with Damien in the hallway, I thought were a little forced. But honestly, you had to get them in there somehow. And let's face it, you're trying to create a game that's trying to help spread the gospel. Some of the moments aren't going to feel as authentic. Some of them are going to feel a little forced. So I'm not surprised by that, and it was fine because Damien is still a very endearing character. Of course, the girls are all very well written. I feel bad that only 2 of them seemed at all interested in me. I'm like, come on. But, I mean, that's the way a dating sim goes. You're going to end up with one in the end, right? Gosh, let me say this. Since we have one of the devs, the director, in the chat right now, let me say this, bro. I can't wait to play the rest of this game. Like, I can't wait until you're done with the development, and I can't wait to finish it. Like, this is so good. Guys, go to the Discord, go wishlist this on Steam, get this game out there. This is actually a gem. Go check it out. I'm going to do it. My brother's waiting on me to meet up with him to go grab dinner, so I do have to get going. But guys, seriously, this was a treat. Absolutely I'll be honest, and I did not expect this. It made me think about my faith. It made me actually think about my faith to a certain degree. I'm a Christian, but I still have conflicts. I still have struggles, just like anyone. So this was a great time. A very good stream to have. I'm so glad I did it. I thought this was going to be hilarious and silly. This was way more in-depth and fun than I was expecting. So, all in all, 2 enthusiastic thumbs up, way up there. True Yoimic, or Yomic, however you pronounce it, I apologize. Great job, my brother. Great job, my brother in Christ. This was so good. Me and my buddy Jay, who are both very strong Christians, he's my accountability partner. We're going to talk about this for a while, I'm sure. This was great. I can't wait. Don't spoil anything for me, but I really do hope that the rest of this game comes out soon. I'm looking forward to it. And Artisius, thank you for being here, both of you. Absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely. From one Christian to another. God bless you. God bless you and your team for doing this. This was so fun. All right, well, that's all the time I have for tonight, guys. Thank you guys so much. Oh, God bless. Support your local Christian streamers, artists, and game devs. Make sure stuff like this and meet the needs of the Christian demand and evangelize. Very true, man. Very true. All right, guys, that's all the time we have for tonight. Thank you so much for joining. This was a great time. Tomorrow is Wednesday, so my brother might be streaming tomorrow. I'll have to talk to him. But anyway, I'll check in with him, make sure that he's up for it, and that's that. Thank you all so much, and I will see you in my next video. Take care.